171. You got to say it says there, 171. 1 and 2, I think point 2.
This is Sirach chapter 27, verse 1. It says, many have sinned for a smaller matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eye away. As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so does sin stick close between buying and selling.
Yeah, a lot of times when people want to keep you engaged, they center around certain products. Like if you want to buy anything, there's going to be like some type of fee attached to it. Don't think that when you see people doing things, a lot of times they're doing it for money, doing it for some type of recognition outside of the said product that they're selling. All right, so you gotta be beware. Another scripture says, beware of men. Get that, find that, where it is, beware of men. Yahushua said that, I believe. All right, a lot of people you're going to meet in your life are going to be phony. They're going to be fake. All right, they're going to be, they're going to just be clout chasers. Right? They're going to want fame. They got to steer clear of those men and women that always want to be in the midst of everything that's fucked up. You know, I'm not saying that this can't beat people, but you got certain guys that are known for just starting trouble. Right? Go read that second verse again.
As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so does sin stick close between buying and selling. Unless a man hold himself diligently in the fear of Yahweh, his house shall soon be overthrown.
Right, so you definitely got to guard your mind against those different forces. And that goes for all of us. Yep. You have to guard your mind from evil suggestions that are constantly going to enter into your mind. Right? Don't be discouraged because you're young and you don't have anything. That's how it is. That's how the system is. You're young, you got to build yourself up. Right? And you got evil thoughts that come into your mind that want to make you take shortcuts, get to a certain point.
I hate the moment my dick touched the ground. What's wrong for?
What's wrong with your head? That's Satan.
Yep.
That's
demons.
And then they want you to then they want you to think they're actually a woman.
Yeah.
He had a mental fucking illness. Get that fucking on camera, man.
Yeah. He want to talk about what? He want to talk about white boy, but he got blonde hair.
Yeah,
Who's he emulating? He emulating these.
Well, he's emulating the black woman, and the so-called black woman. She's emulating the so-called white woman.
Yeah. Ain't that type of country
He's
right
doing
there.
that. He's following after the black woman, and the black woman following after the so-called white woman.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
You know, that was atrocious.
Yeah.
All right, we gotta post it out there.
Simon,
I did a video on it.
I got him on there when he first came.
Yes, that's pure confusion.
Yep.
He wants you to be, so if you in a martial arts class and you rolling with them or whatever, fighting, I guess you got to be paired up with a woman now. You got to be paired up with a woman because of the weight and skill set and the frailty and all that. That's evil as hell. Read that third verse.
Yep. It says, unless a man holdeth himself diligently in the fear of Yahweh, his house shall soon be overthrown.
Yeah, shortcuts. You got certain people that want to take shortcuts. You got regular dudes that are not even street guys that are getting they're selling drugs now. They're drug dealers. They drive around in their car. They make stops. They get a bunch of people they trust. And they sit in the car. They drive. They exchange whatever they're going to exchange. And they're going about their day. They're making a lot of money. They're making $14,000 a month. Some people making I don't have any proprietary information.
I got something with it. Bring something.
You got people making $14,000 a month, $10,000 a month, $7,000 a month just selling marijuana. And these are not even dudes that's females that are from the street. They're just regular dudes that looking at opportunity. That's not the way. Okay, just stay away from that shit. I got you. All right? These people use this for recreational purposes. They use those supposed to be medicinal herbs for recreational purposes, and that's evil. That's wicked. Stay away from that shit. If you broke and poor now, it's for a reason. All right? You're not supposed to be 24 years old and have 2 car notes in a house. It just don't work like that unless you got some type of inheritance. But you got guys, they want to take shortcuts. They want to supplement their income. They want to be everybody want to be a trap star.
I got a quick piece of it. Yeah, it's I ain't do the lesson on it, but you know, going into Kensington, which is neighborhood. Yeah, here in Philadelphia.
But they're not smart enough to stop doing that shit and invest it in the actual business.
Right.
Maybe some
legal
mechanic shop,
right.
Apartments or something like that. But they will just keep doing it because they fucking stupid.
Yeah, they want that fast life.
They don't want to. They don't want to take a risk to do something else that's legal.
Yeah.
Because it's a risk doing that shit.
Yeah. Time.
And then, but what happened when he saw legalize the shit? Then the price is either gonna go up or gonna go way down. Because medical marijuana is more expensive, it's not even cheap. What the hell? Well, they created a bureaucracy so they can make more money off it.
Yeah, the article is Business and Bloodshed, and it says, I'm gonna just read like just little bits of it, and it says, as he looks over the chaos at the corner of Kensington Allegheny, the sprawling homeless encampments, then people injecting heroin and nodding off in the street, the dealers, the trash, the suffering, this is what Flax sees, money. I believe this is a hustle, if I'm not mistaken. All I see is money, money, money. Ain't nothing but money down here. He said waving at the intersection, which is, this is one of the few places in America where you can wake up on Monday flat broke, and Tuesday you can have $10,000 in your pocket. All right. It goes in both. When you read the article, that some of the blocks make $60,000 a day in heroin sales.
Yeah, because you got a friend that knows a friend, and they network, and they sell heroin, they sell the marijuana, the fentanyl, you know. And they taking shortcuts. You got a lot of them young, so-called black Latino men that are involved in that shit.
Yeah, tons.
You know, when you come into the faith, you can't be involved in that. You can't be somebody come to you and say, "Oh, you want to make some extra money," and you got a car or whatever. All you got to do is meet these people. They set you up with certain clients, and then you expand your clientele from there. It is easy. That's easier than starting a YouTube channel. That's easier than getting and working in a damn warehouse. Easier to learn the trade. You can just fucking do that. Then you got a day job, and you can do that when you get off of work. So why wouldn't you do it? You can't be involved in that shit, right?
Right.
That's the easy way that the Lord going to destroy you. That's not something that the Lord is looking at you like, well, it's just this. And it's not good. You have to conduct yourself a certain way. You can't be involved in certain organizations and groups when you're in the faith. Like the other apostle made a mention that you can't be a part of Great Millstone, but then be a part of another group, another organization and shit that has to do with the faith and all that. You can't do that. Certain, you have rules, guidelines, regulations. You can't be involved in certain things in the faith.
Yep. It says even as the pandemic lockdown eases, Kensington heroin economy thrives along with, of course, endless gun violence and fuels. Some corners pull in more than 20 million a year.
And this is really like Esau want to regulate, the marijuana. And then they got the trucks out there with the stationary Kensington North. They have the permanent police trailer there. They spy on the people in the neighborhood and shit. Then they got cameras set up and all that. So they know they got drug task force, and a lot of them task force guys being gangs themselves. They rob the drug dealers, they keep certain of it. They keep getting out all that shit.
Resell it too.
Then they got lookouts. You know, if you ever drive through Kensington, you'll see bikes. You see some people looking around and shit, looking out for the drug dealers. But I'm sure if the cops come, get rid of the shit and run. So it's a damn circuit. You know, in Jersey, it's illegal to ride the street without a license.
Yep.
In Jersey, ride without a bicycle. Ride with a bicycle in the street without a bicycle license.
Whoa, for real?
Yeah, in New Jersey. Yeah. So look, they taking that shortcut. Look, the Lord said that the straight is the way. And straight is the way to lead to life, but broad is the way to lead to destruction. Right? But you can't tell a guy nothing when he never made this amount of money in his life and stopped doing it. he never seen $5,000 a week, or even $2,000 a week. So telling a dude to stop doing that, it's like kind of pointless. Like if you making $2,000 a week, $2, $4, $6, $8,000 a month, why would you stop doing it? He has no incentive to stop doing it because he don't have faith. He don't believe in Yahweh Shai. So hey, that's how you know that people that come into the faith, it's the Spirit of the Lord that draws them to it. It's not something that we say. Well, it's them hearing it, but it's the Spirit behind our words that draws them to the faith. There's no way that we can convince a person that we get telling the truth that the Lord, certain actions are evil. It's the Spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai.
Matthew 10 and verse 17. But beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues.
Yeah, and then you take endless gun violence between them, you know? Because it's not just one dude selling heroin and marijuana. You got a lot of dudes, you know, selling heroin and marijuana. But then, you know, he might want to increase his sales, or not really increase his sales, he's just jealous. He just don't, he want to be the top dude selling heroin or marijuana in a certain area. And then, you know, you end up with 2 shots back to the biscuit and all that. And then the cycle starts all over again. Somebody else, he set somebody else up and he get rid of that dude. It's evil. Right? And Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is looking at that and going to judge you for being involved in those drug distributions and those murders. Right? Even if you're not involved in violence, even if you just got run the car, dropping marijuana off, you know, Yahweh Shai going to judge you. You're going to find something else to do. Take the money you got right now, invest it into something. Stop doing that shit. Right? You can't, and then the tattoos and shit, you can't be involved in getting the tattoos and being a tattoo artist and all that. You can't be doing that shit anymore. You're coming out into the camp and you're doing tattoos. You know?
That was it.
Yeah, I got some. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 8. It says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves of mankind.
Right, so it's a guideline that the Lord gave us. It's a guideline that the Lord gave us to avoid not being a vessel fit for use. Read those things again.
Absolutely. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High?
Yeah, if you're unrighteous, there's guidelines to being unrighteous. So it's a list of things that you can do to be unrighteous.
Right, in other words, it's saying, do you not know that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom?
Yeah, mean you ain't gonna make it.
And then it follows it up by the acts that the power, or that Yahweh deems unrighteous.
Yeah, you can't just do whatever you want in the faith. There are things that are going to make the Lord look at you as an enemy. And if you were the enemy, then the Lord is going to destroy you.
Right. It continues by saying, be not deceived. How many of the world is deceived? They got their own vain beliefs and they think that there's another way. They figure they can continue in their sin and still somehow make it into the kingdom. It don't work like that. And that's what the world believes that. The world actually believes that. Alright? It says neither fornicators nor idolaters.
Right. Yeah, you could be with somebody that's doing that activity. Let's say your wife and your girl. And one person want to stop it, the other person want to keep doing it. Then you're going to have problems. Or you with a business partner, you're doing illegal activity. One person will stop, the other person will keep going. So you open yourself up to a lot of evil things that can happen to you.
Right. Well, that's why the scriptures say to be ye unequally yoked with the unbelievers. Meaning to separate yourself. Separate yourself. Because there's going to come a point in time where you're going to need to do so. Otherwise, as you're cleaning yourself, what's going to happen with the spirits that's on them? They're going to try to re-cling back to you. You know, they're going to try to stunt your progress of moving forward. You know, and maybe in the beginnings it won't be a determining factor, but definitely as time progresses onward, you're going to have to make those types of decisions if you want to continue to grow closer to Yahweh Shem Yahushua, because there's certain things that you can't continue in and entertain. You know, whether it be you know, with a family member, a loved one, a significant other. You know what I mean? We're in a position where we have to consider all things lost for the sake of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know, and that's really a decision that you as a man have to inevitably make. You know, so it's not something that you can avoid. It's something that's going to be there. And you're going to have to make a decision, right? You know, to whom it may apply. You know, we all have to make decisions. We all have to, you know, do what's best for pursuing the gospel. And separating ourselves from certain individuals is needed in a lot of cases. Some brothers may be able to get away with, you know, certain circumstances, but of course, you can't be allowing a significant other, a loved one, or someone you like to drag you away from the faith. And if that's happening, then, you know, you should be able to make that decision accordingly. It says, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, right?
Yeah, sodomy.
Right, homosexuality. It says, nor thieves, nor covetous. And oftentimes our people are very covetous because they're without. So like the brother was mentioning earlier, is an avenue, a very quick avenue, although illegal and not congruent to the faith. They involve themselves with drug selling. Okay? Or distribute. Okay? And they learn all that shit from Esau. Because the drugs, they got into our communities by Esau. We didn't have access to drugs and all that, man. Yeah, that was all planted, you know, and set up and orchestrated by Esau, but, you know, nevertheless, our people picked it up generationally, you know. And a lot of our people still do that to this day, you know, sell poison to their people, in other words. You know, for gain, for profit, for covetousness. I mean, their heart desires and lusts after money, women in a particular lifestyle, and they have been accustomed to see these different ways to get it. All right, but is it lawful? No, it's not lawful. And I don't mean just according to Esau's laws, I mean to the Most High. And like the brother was noting, those particular behaviors and actions, if you don't repent and get yourself right with the Most High, those actions are going to warrant you great death, agony, and destruction eventually, in due time. It says, nor extortioner, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards. Oh man, how much of our people live a party lifestyle, right? That's all what it's about. Party like a rock star, you know? And again, that's a belief of Esau. You know, a lot of our people, they talk about getting white boy wasted. You know what I mean? Because our people have aligned their mentality with the ways of the Edomites. And that's what you see. Our people have reduced themselves to the level of a heathen. But, you know, in a deeper level, on a deeper level, that's really the Most High, man. The Most High's got our people bugged out in all types of different delusions. You know, the Lord said that the deceived and the deceiver are His. Nonetheless, you know, brother is, you know, through the Spirit, warning the Israelites to return back onto the Father. Okay? For in doing so, you'll find grace, you'll find mercy, you'll find comfort, you'll find rest for your soul. All that other stuff that you're doing is setting you at unease. Okay? Because you're not feeling the Spirit, you're just feeling the lust of the flesh. And living by the lust of the flesh is going to get you killed, man. Is the point. Nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revelers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of the Most High. As such were some of you, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, But ye are justified in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai and by the Spirit of our power. That's the point I want.
So if you are involved in that, you can stop. You don't have to continue on it. And you can repent. So once you repent, you become clean. Right? Then you don't look back. Move away from it. Right? Don't see more of a benefit in ministry and living a normal life or an exceptional life than doing those nefarious activities. Because it's going to gender just death eventually. You might succeed in the beginning, but in the end, it's going to be to your own hurt.
Right?
This is Proverbs chapter 11, verse 4. It says, riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death.
No, righteousness delivered from death. Right? Righteousness delivered from death. So, I mean, when you do, a good act and you're obedient, the Lord He'll forgive you. He'll cover all your sins. Right? If you do the evil acts, that can break you. You gotta be on point. Right? Ultimately, you got to have the Holy Spirit. We can convince you with our words to convert you. That's a good thing. We know more than the majority of Israel ain't gonna listen to Babylon, America. They ain't gonna listen. But the elect, that's why Paul said, through the Spirit of Yahushua, we endure all things for the elect.
Is 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. It says, if my people which are called by my name, if my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
Right, that's how we get converted, we get healed, and we get free from a lot of the wickedness that the majority of the people are involved in. We can free ourselves up from some of the curses. We can't fully escape them. We don't got to be worried about having an attorney and all that if you get into a jam.
Yep.
Brothers that give money together. You got certain dudes that are sitting in jail right now that can't get out. And their bail is only $200. And they stuck in jail because they don't have $200, $300, or $500 to get out of jail. That's a damn shame.
Yep. And the precept says if they humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways, and that's the main thing. Jake don't want to do that. Jake don't want to humble themselves, and they sure as hell don't want to turn from their wicked ways. The majority of them, right? That's all I have. Go on. This is 2 Chronicles 7 and 14. It says, my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
Right. And that's going to happen in the kingdom. But right now it's not going to happen. But the elect, among the elect, that's going to happen. Yes, so the Israel of Israel is going to turn from our wicked ways and follow the Lord. So that's going to be the remnant that's going to be delivered. Right. But as a whole, the nation of Israel is not going to be delivered. The nation of Israel is so-called Black, Latino, and Native Americans, and people scattered throughout the nations. Those are the real Israelites, not so-called white people. They're not the biblical Israelites. They're Edomites. They were known as Khazars, and before that they were known as Edomites. Right? When they came out of the caves, the nations that they were scattered in, they started labeling themselves after the nations they were in, just like us. We started labeling ourselves as the nations that we were in. So everybody think they're the real British. Everybody think they're the real Russians. Right? They think they're the real Germans. The real actual Germans are Japhetic people, not Edomites. They're two separate people, two separate nations. That's it.
Galatians 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Right, walk in the Spirit. Right? Now, overall, we all need a Savior, right? But there are prerequisites to come into the faith. Scripture say, be not over wicked, should thou die before thy time. So you gotta be a certain amount of decorum order you gotta be in. Right? In order for you to even be fit So there's really no excuse for you to even have the prerequisites to come into the faith. Right? I mean, don't be a drug dealer, all right? Or a whoremonger, a sodomite. You gotta put that off if you're involved in anything. Read that again.
Galatians 5, verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh.
Right, this is why we can never attain absolute perfection, but in the eyes of Yahushua, with our current condition, we reach perfection in that manner. Right? Once we've been washed by the water, brother, we reach that earthly level of perfection. And when we get to the kingdom, we will have absolute level of perfection.
Well, like the scripture said, we're entire or made perfect through what? Through understanding. That's really Yahushua, how we became perfect. It's through understanding. It's knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's what's going to ultimately allow us to receive that exemption from judgment, is our understanding of the scriptures. And that's only given to you from Yahushua.
Our understanding and our execution for the prophets.
So look at that. It says vision on that bus. Remember, it says that without vision, the people are destroyed. See, we're the visionaries. Okay, we're the seers, right? Which another word for prophet is seer. You see, the Lord opened up the prophecies unto us, so we know what to expect, so to speak. As the scriptures say that we don't have no need, all right, for him to write onto us, because we know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. So we constantly in the spirit of haste, right? Constantly in the spirit of deliverance. We looking for the return of the Lord, and in doing so, making sure that we remain unspotted in the sight of the Heavenly Father, in the sight of His Son, Yahushua. That means we gotta, engage ourselves and get ourselves clean, man, and continue to stay clean. Because you're gonna have ups and downs in the faith. But the key is to not stay down. The key is to pick yourself back up. Right? We all have different, areas of weakness. You gotta hone in on those weaknesses, and tend to them, right? And do as the scriptures say. Right? Some brothers right now ain't praying enough, and that's why they're faltering. That's why they're fumbling, just because they're not praying enough. Right?
Yeah.
We're not commercial Israelites. Right? Like we got certain hard topics that groups don't talk about.
Yeah.
We talk about those hard topics. It's very simple to us. They're not hard to us.
No.
But the other groups, they avoid them. They want to talk about them, talk around them. But they don't want to hurt the YouTube channel and all that.
Well, I mean,
people looking at them different. Wow.
So,
you're not politically correct.
So, but there was even topics that Yahushua knew that people were going to assess. Well, that's why he said, if you shall receive this, right?
Yeah. The Lord said, eat my blood, drink my blood, eat my flesh. You had these simple ass jakes. The elder went over it. He said it before, years ago too. But he said, we talking about cannibalism. And Jake really was that simple in the faith. Jake is so-called black Latino things in America. That's Jacob. Right? They actually thought he was talking about cannibalism. And somehow, some way, even if they was being fucking smart asses, what Jake does too. Jake, we actually, it's so simple to say something.
Yeah.
Or the, was it Nathaniel? He said, go back into your mother's womb and be born again.
Right.
The Lord said, aren't you a ruler in Israel? You don't know these things? I believe that's John 3rd chapter, right? Yeah, John 3rd chapter.
Say that again, so like I was
John 3rd chapter. We said, he was explaining to, I believe it was Nathaniel, he said he's a ruler in Israel. That you have to go back into your mother's womb or something like that and be born again. And he said, how can one be born again?
Yeah, exactly.
John 3rd chapter, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, Jake, that was that simple.
Right.
That they actually thought that you had to go through the process
womb,
again, like you have to go reincarnated again. Right. Maybe he's alluding to that in order to get eternal life.
Yeah, exactly.
Jake is simple.
Exactly. So back then, how much more today?
Yeah.
Our people are
because we get weaker and weaker.
Yeah, our people are super gone. At least back then. There was the laws were still written, right? There was Israel still knew where to get the law. I mean, they were still fucking wicked, but they knew, you had the scribes and Pharisees that so-called knew and shit, right?
Yeah.
That was
well, they were about the law. but they had no faith in Yahweh.
Exactly. But our people now, they can't even understand the little things, you know, and they get tripped up on the little things that we go into, you know.
You'll say something like, like my mother was 16 and my dad was 20. Well, apparently that's statutory rape. Rape.
So.
Well, I think it's 16.
Well, I mean, there's what do they call them, bylaws?
What? Bylaws?
Well, basically, don't quote me on that, but so 16 is the age of consent for right. In Pennsylvania, 16 is the age of consent, but now it comes with an underlying law that states that even though they might be 16 and can consent, the age difference can't be no more than a 4-year maximum.
She was like 4 years.
So, because what happens is that the parents get involved in that decision, then it can still be considered corruption of a minor, even though she or he can legally consent. If it's above that 4 years.
Well, no, it's even that 4 years is called the Romeo and Juliet law. And a woman could be 17, which is the legal age of consent in Pennsylvania.
Well, I'm just focusing on the 16 portion.
Well, 16 or 17. At 16 or 17, a woman could be 17, and the man could be 33. Legally, she has age of consent, but corruption of minor would actually cause him to be put in jail. Is how corruption of minor works. Anything under 18. In Pennsylvania is really the only.
Now it no longer becomes statutory rape. Yep. Now it becomes a question of whether or not the minor was corrupt.
Here's how fucking stupid Esau's law is about the Romeo and Juliet law. So Romeo and Juliet law is a 4-year difference. So a woman actually can be 14 and have sex with an 18-year-old through Romeo and Juliet law. You can look this up. This is Esau's law. Romeo and Juliet law is a 14-year-old can have sex with an 18-year-old legally, but corruption of minor can come in, and the mother could say it, the father could say it, the woman could all of a sudden be like, oh, you know what? All of a sudden corruption of minor. But legally, she is bound by that 4-year difference, and she's legally bound at 16, the age of consent as well. But that's Pennsylvania. New Jersey, strictly 16.
Does that work the same way as she's under the age of consent if the age of consent is 16, though?
Yeah, it's a 4-year difference under 16.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, Esau made it overly complicated. He made it overly complicated and confusing. All right? And there's a standard for when a woman becomes of age and when or I should say, a girl becomes a woman and a boy becomes a man. And it's just telling that. All right? And these guys won't talk about it, and they'll call us all types of names, but the reality of the matter is for a female, okay, in most cases, when she hits puberty, okay, meaning she has begun her cycle, all right, her menstrual cycle, she is now of age according to the scriptures, all right? Now, of course, legally, we're not telling anybody to go and deal with anybody who's under the age of consent, and you got to look at your own state's individual laws so you're not doing anything illegal. But for the sake of truth, all right, the scriptures tell you that when a boy becomes a man, that's at the age of 12. And when a girl becomes a woman, that's at the start of her puberty. As the scriptures say, the flower of her age. All right? Which can happen really as young as 11. And these other guys will not touch that because they're too emotional and too sensitive. We're not saying anything outside of what the scriptures say. We're not condoning anything or telling you that you need to be attracted to a 12-year-old.
Right.
We're just telling you what the age of marriage is according to the Bible.
According to the scriptures, right.
And even Esau knows that, because when you go to his governmental websites, he understands reproduction and how it works and at what age it begins.
Yeah, Khan, over in France, the age of consent was 11, but they recently changed it to 15.
Right.
What's that?
Right.
Over in France, it was 11.
And what is that
now
really
it's 15.
established? That's established whoredom and adultery. Because by the time a woman becomes so-called of age, 18 and even 21, how many sexual partners has she had?
And it's gender bias too.
Of course, there's other inner workings to that too.
If a woman does to a man,
right?
The woman should have 80% chance, 90% of not even being charged with anything.
And see, here's how wicked Esau is. He'll say the age of consent isn't until you're 16, but he offers contraceptive to girls as young as 14.
Right.
I don't know what the age is necessarily. I don't even know if you have to be a particular age. All I know is 14-year-olds are out here getting contraceptives. If we're saying that they're not mature enough for sex at 14, 17, I'm saying according to Esau's laws, how the hell is it a right for them to be on contraceptive? In that little ass, that's definitely ass backwards.
So the devil.
You're basically condoning promiscuity or promiscuity, excuse me, while at the same time saying that they're not old enough or mature enough to consent to sex. That's just ridiculous, man. It's just getting ridiculous. That's confusion.
Change their gender.
And to top it off,
Yep.
the age of consent for sex is 16, but you have children, mind you, now actual children, by laws of Esau, and furthermore by the laws of the Most High, a 6-year-old should not be able to change its gender.
Right.
Those are life-altering decisions, and you're saying, well, there's a lot of states right now fighting back and trying to get those laws, okay, changed. All right. So they're basically blocking different doctors from being able to give hormone blockers. All right, which could obviously contribute to the altering of one's gender by allowing hormone blockers. But anyways, you have some laws starting to fight against that.
For puberty, right?
Right, for prepubescent children. Prepubescent meaning before puberty, because if you introduce those hormone blockers at a young age, right? But you don't know what those chemicals, because those chemicals are inducing things mentally as well as physically, stopping the natural process of puberty. All right, and remember, there's stages to maturity, so Esau wants to block that out and confuse these people even further. You know, that's why he's trying to get to the children, because they understand how impressionable children are. That's why the scriptures even tell you, grow up, the water. How do you call it? Train up a child. The water. Train up a child, so that he might. Well, we get it. Just get the scripture. Just get the scripture. Since we're going into it.
Yeah, on a cereal box they're teaching children pronouns like they and them. You know, which pronouns they identify with. Young children on cereal boxes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and if we disagree with Esau's laws, then we look at as not politically correct, not going with status quo. You know?
Like everything.
How Shai has a greater law than Esau's law. And when he comes back, how Shai is going to be established his law. Right now, Esau's law is reigns. But how Shai is stronger than the devil. Like the right hand is stronger than the left.
And this way of thinking, you know, is really affecting our people. Okay? So, you know, as brothers would say, the earth is in great need of correction. So here it is.
Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it.
That goes both ways.
Right?
So if it's evil, then he might not depart from evil. If it's good, more than likely might not depart from good. Alright, so if you put hormone blockers on children, they're going to develop into what they biologically were born into. You're training them pretty much to be a degenerate.
Call it fruit.
Yeah, to be basically an abomination. Creating them you design it, well, you're showing them to be an abominable thing.
Right. You're already starting off wrong.
Right.
And how are you going to come back from that? Like they talk about Dwayne Wade's son or whatever, past couple months or whatever. And his name got a nerve to be Zion, a monument. And I guess he's a monument for sodomy and LGBTQ.
Right, because
Will Smith's son.
Right, and that was remember that was a sacrifice.
So he got a game show now apparently on here, King or something like that.
That's what you call an immoral sacrifice. These celebrities, if they want to continue to make their money, they have to offer up sacrifices. So it might not, it's not necessarily always blood. What they'll do is they'll offer up their son or daughter and have them involved in these immoral acts, because basically he became a poster child for transgender. Not just him, Jaden Smith too, with all the wearing of dresses and eyeliner and makeup. And he helped offshoot this gender-neutral clothing line. So they become poster childs for whatever Esau's trying to push. Remember, that's how they use our people. Our people are tools for the elite. for the ones of them that make those deals.
Yeah, to cast spells on the people.
To cast spells on especially on our people. But you know, as a byproduct of that, you got these Edomites emulating our people because our people makes everything cool, even wickedness, man.
Yeah.
That's why hip hop culture has extended itself, you know, onto Esau. They'll say nigger all day long and then turn on the radio and be bopping their head, you know, to Jake music.
I heard a damn country song that sounded like a Negro spiritual. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no, this is keep the cadence, keep the people with people.
Right.
I heard a Edomite saying, now wait a minute, this is a. They just been changed it around, and they got Edomite singing Negro songs.
Right.
So-called black people songs. So, you know?
He also saying that he allowing his wife to be the head of the household.
Yeah. He's a fifth person.
Oh,
or
he
some
said
shit.
that. He said
Yeah.
specifically he don't believe the man should be the leader of the house. Yeah.
That's okay for him. He can do that. So the Lord gonna destroy him and his
Exactly.
whole family. I heard he's like 10 years younger than her or something like that too. So I mean, again, that's coach. He called him buzzer beaters. These are women that at the last minute they lock the dude down. Because if they get divorced, that's gonna be one of the most crazy. Because he owns a basketball team. I believe it'll be our partner basketball team, if I'm not mistaken. You got the game show. Yeah, that divorce is crazy. So, in order to continue to thrive and get things that you want in this world, on that level, you got to sell your soul. Right? And the rules that they ran by or governed by are evil. They're against the Lord. They're against Yahushua. You got Isaiah 10 chapter.
This is Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment.
Right, so the wicked laws that Esau writes and enacts causes Israel to go astray. Right? So whenever Esau sets up a system like the drugs, you always hear the question about Esau brought the drugs to the community, meaning that there's no so-called black people, Latino people that produce heroin. Right? In the laboratory. And bring it, and that produces those syringes and needles and all that, and bring it over here. Now, cocaine is different. You got so-called Asher and Edomites, with a lot of Colombians, obviously, some of them Edomites too, that produce the coca plant, whatever the plant is, and they transport it into Mexico. And basically, the Mexicans are transporters. They don't actually produce the drugs. The Mexicans are transporters to the drugs to get into America in different parts of the world. So they basically are mules. This cars, mule for Asher and for Esau. And Esau, he's the kingpin. It's not a coincidence that in all these movies that Esau is always the supervillain. Because he's always really the one behind the top whoever who's actually making the most money off of it. Well, really, even if Esau don't make money off of it, which he does, it's not about really the money. It's about transfer of power and to put people in a state of a constant state of war, and economic disenfranchisement, because their mind instead of being focused on their education, or whatever, like running trade or whatever, take care of the situation in your family. Their mind's focused on just making money real fast and doing drugs and getting involved in those lifestyles. So Esau does it all about creating laws, right? Creating laws that destroy our people, right? Creating systems to destroy our people, and to destroy his own people too. But they ain't just destroying us. Esau getting something too. Go down to Kensington. A lot of them are Irish and Italian, like Kensington. But some of them Edomites too. They gotta be Edomites by default. Read again from top.
Khan, this is Isaiah chapter 10 verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless.
Yeah, that widows may be their prey. They use the woman really literally against the different programs, or whatever. They actually use the women against their husbands and against their children to destroy them, because without the father in the house, you have a weaker household. Without the father in the house, when the child gets older, they have different set of emotions and needs that the mother can't fulfill. And she becomes uber masculine. Beats the shit out the child, and then you end up leaving at 16 years old, leaving at 17 years old, get kicked out of the house at 15 and 14. You brothers know what I'm talking about. Go and live with your aunt for a week or whatever. And then you go back. You'll be out the house for a couple of days, and then you might go back to the house. And your single mother is.
They illustrated good in that movie Concrete Cowboy that was shot here in Philadelphia. Jake, where was he living? He was living somewhere, man. He came back to Philly.
Yeah, he was with his mother, right?
Yeah.
His mother dropped him off.
Like in Virginia or something like that, or somewhere.
Yeah.
They were somewhere and they drove all.
I think she, though, before he left, I think she did confess, though, that there were things that she couldn't teach him.
Oh, yeah.
You know? She acknowledged that there was things that he was only going to learn from his father. And that's right.
Yeah, a woman can't.
Like after a certain point, after a certain point, the woman watches over the children, but after a certain point, right, when a boy starts to go through that transitional period, he needs to be under the dominion of his father.
Right. Set up under his own dominion.
Right.
And under her dominion. Because when you will buy it under yourself, you pretty much don't know what the hell you're doing. You make a bunch of fucking mistakes, you're ill prepared, you don't know how to pay bills.
That's why
you gotta figure shit the fuck out.
That's why now
that's why we're so behind.
Exactly.
You gotta figure shit out.
That's what I was gonna say, because at 18 and 20 now, what you have is an overgrown child. You don't have a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
You have an overgrown child. And in most cases, what do these overgrown children do? They run back to mom and dad. And mom and dad didn't give them the necessary skills to be self-sufficient. Because they're over there doing everything for them, which is also not something you're supposed to be doing. All right? It's good that you want to help and support them, but you can't be taking over what they're supposed to be doing, because then they learn that mom and dad will take care of it, and they never learn responsibility or accountability. You know what I mean? Like, the thing of it is after a certain point, the child is supposed to, like we read earlier, child, after a certain point, he's supposed to take those skills and then use them in the real world. Okay? But they're not learning adequate self-sufficient skills. They're not learning about the Most High. They're not learning what they need to know in order to apply those same principles later on in life. So from 18 to all the way through damn near 25, these people out here messing up all different types of ways, because one, a big contributing factor was they were raised in single parent households that were ran by the mother. So they operate solely on emotions. As soon as a man goes through a difficult time, his first, in this society, his first inclination is to be emotional, complain about it. See, men are problem solvers. And that's something your father has to instill in you at an early age. So when these things begin to happen, yes, it's okay to ask your parents for advice, and they can lead you, but they shouldn't be fucking hijacking what you're supposed to be doing as a responsible young man or woman. And that's what they learn in this society. Right? In most cases, in the majority of the cases. And you never learn anything. That's why when you get older on in life, everything's fucked up. Your money's fucked up. You have kids that you didn't want. Everything is all over the place. Yeah, man.
No license.
No license, no money saved.
Yeah.
No nothing. You ain't ready for nothing.
You don't know what shit at. You got certain people, especially in the city, that your parents didn't have cars, like my parents didn't have, they didn't drive. You know?
And it's unfortunate, because I understand that in a lot of cases, if you still have your parents around, they want to be more active in your life as an adult in a lot of cases, to try to make up for what they weren't able to do when you were younger. And it's sad, man. It's unfortunate. But the reality of the matter is, you know,
everybody grew up the same way.
Yeah.
Everybody grew up the same way.
Really,
They had to figure things out for
exactly.
themselves.
And we're not trying to put, our family down or nothing. It's just, we understand that we're under the curses, man. We understand that what we had to go through and what, you know, our people's, you know, parents and children are going through is a result of the curses. You know?
Yeah, but you try to do the right thing, then you advice, you ask, put you on child support,
Right.
you gotta be seeing the child
Right.
once a week, twice a month.
Right.
So the cycle fucking continues, even while you're with a tree.
Right.
You know, this is why Babylon and murder needs to be destroyed.
Right.
Because you can't fucking win. It's only
Right.
certain situations where the Lord will make it so that you can, the wife won't be a complete demon.
Right.
He'll allow you to at least work with it. But a lot of times these women just don't want to do what the hell they want to do and break up the family.
Right.
They're the catalyst to break up the family because she basically wants, what's that? Genesis 3rd chapter? Oh no, the curse, Jeremiah. She want to basically run the whole house.
Right. A woman shall compass a man.
She want to lead the direction. She want to steer you in the direction. And if you not going in the direction that she wants you to go in, then you are bad.
Well, you get an ultimatum. Remember, you get an ultimatum. The ultimatum is you either do it her way.
Shut that shit up. Yeah.
Exactly. Because you'll still have her around, but she gonna treat you like she's beneath you.
Yes, sir.
You gotta have some sort of dignity and self-respect to know that you're the head of the house. And if she ever try to give you an ultimatum about it's my way to highway, you choose to hit the road. Or she can choose to hit the road. Either way.
This is why.
But our people do not possess that mentality, man. That's why you see our people walking up and down the street. Who's leading that relationship? You can clearly see it's the woman. Every interaction we've ever gotten into, and it happened to be a couple, the woman is telling the man what to do.
She's doing most of the talking.
She's doing most of the talking.
She's the most.
She the one that
Get
can
somebody's
pull him
face.
away.
She the one that want
Right.
to jump in your face.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's gonna respond to whatever she does, instead of acting on a singular level. Like you're supposed to be in control. You're supposed to be letting her control you, be it emotions or whatever.
You're in charge, not her. All right. Remember
Yep.
that.
She does what you say, not the other way around. It's not.
She give you any lip, cuss her ass out.
Right.
Yeah. Oh
If
man.
you don't, she'll never respect you.
They're gonna
She'll run all over you.
They're gonna get in a huge fight later on because of that.
And that's a fact. And as much as women
You
do
believe
not
what
like
he
the man,
said?
they want the man to lead.
No, not at all, baby.
Because if you do not lead, then that causes a female to be in her masculine, right? And she'll start to despise you.
Steak 48.
She's not.
We got $100.
She will start to despise you.
$100 minimum each person.
All right?
Where's
If
the
you
steak?
do not lead in your relationship, your woman will despise you, walk all over you, and then fuck somebody else. And that is a reality. I'm not saying that as a joke. I'm saying that because it is the truth. It doesn't make it right,
Whoa.
but it is a reality.
Person.
And this is the confusion and unrighteousness in which we're speaking against. All right? Because of such actions, the Lord is going to bring great misery upon the earth. Why did the Lord originally destroy the world by water? Because he looked at the hearts of men and their actions, and they were wicked.
Oh yeah.
All right? Now there's a second death coming for the same reason, except the death is going to come by way of fire. Why? Because the earth, rather the works of the people, all right, are wicked. They're abominations unto the Lord. And you read about that in 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter. The Lord got to destroy this place with fervent heat. He said all the elements shall be dissolved. So you got to start analyzing the elements. Well, it's all wicked. From the buildings, the infrastructure is not according to the guidelines of the scriptures. The people are out here acting crazy, believing all types of nonsense. Okay? So the Lord's going to correct the earth, and he's going to do it, all right, through the spirit of his mouth first.
The money system too?
Yeah, the money system's corrupt. Shoot, we could be here all day listening to the amount of corruption that goes on in this world. Well, a brother said earlier, Job 9:24, the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked.
Mask up, man. Mask up.
Yeah.
He's smoking.
Right.
That smoke more dangerous than
Right.
COVID.
He's worried about COVID, but he ain't worried about lung cancer.
That's hurting your respiratory system.
The back of the hard fat cool 100.
Yeah. See, back in the day, they didn't used to tell you how dangerous cigarettes are. Now at least you get the courtesy.
good. It was
You
good for you, I
get the
think, right?
courtesy by the general, Surgeon General, that this might cause health problems. What these people need, hey, remember these people are not fit to lead. I got something real quick. Okay, go ahead.
This is Psalm chapter 10 and verse 4. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in awe of his thoughts.
Right, so when this man makes decisions,
you don't need that.
all right, it's not according to the Holy Scriptures. It's not according to the mind of
It's not
Mashiach. It's not according to anything that's righteous in which the Lord established. He's always trying to undo what the Most High's done. He constantly pursues everything that is in opposition to what the Most High has already established. That's why he's called the devil. So he takes what the Most High has done, okay? He takes what the Most High has done and created and established and built, and then through his manipulative tactics tries to offer you another way, as if it's the better way.
You know, take a plea deal or whatever.
You know?
Let's try it.
It talks about the secret counsel of the wicked. Well, the secret counsel of the wicked, okay, when you get into the meat and potatoes, into the crux, into the root of why Esau is trying to establish a one world order, and so he can continue to govern the world, all right, via the sword, which was the blessing that he was originally given, all right. His forefather Esau was given the blessing of the sword, and he's living out that blessing. But he also knows, and I'm talking about the elites, they actually know that if they don't, you know, introduce the chip and everything else, right, that they're going to be taken out of power. So they're doing all that they can to cause Israel to fall. That's why they introduce drugs. They go after your children. We were talking about that earlier. But the moment your child enters the school system, the first thing that Esau wants to do is put your child on different types of medication. He's too rambunctious. He's not attentive in class. Here's a drug. Here's a pill.
Ritalin.
Right. Here's Ritalin. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, we're naturally lively people. You know?
You fucking 10 years old, sit down
In a chair for 8 hours a day. 8 hours a day, man. And all Esau's teaching you to do is to get a career in his system.
Hey, he teach you how to be an employee.
A slave.
Be a slave.
Be a slave. Let's just
slave.
call it what it is. A corporate debt slave. All right? All these things that are contributing, all right, to Esau's rule. The good news is the Lord said that, you know, he got 7,000 men who will not bow the knee to Baal, which means that the Lord raised up his prophets, all right, to teach the people, and I mean all the people, the prophecies, the counsels of the Lord before the judgment actually comes. All right? So we're in the time of great judgment. Read that again. Baruch Shah.
This is Psalm chapter 10 and verse 4. The wicked, through the pride of his countenance, will not seek after Yahweh. Yahweh is not in all his thoughts.
God. Yahweh is not at all in his thoughts. All right? So he does not govern according to the scriptures. He does not govern according to the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And another scripture that is the book of Psalms, the 50th chapter, wherein it's written that he casted the words of the Most High behind him, as if there's another way. Well, the Lord going to show you, all right, you Edomites, in the whole world, that there is only one way. Yeah, go ahead.
Job 24 and 4.
You got it? All right, go ahead.
They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together.
Yeah, read that again.
God, Job 24 verse 4. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together.
I mean, look, Was that the same precept you were holding? Or was something else?
Yeah, kind. Yeah. So read that again, so I can.
Job 24 verse 4.
Right.
They turn the needy.
Now, you can read up a bit above.
Kind.
Because this going and talking about the wicked. You can start at the top. So 24:1. Stop.
Why same times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days?
Right, which Yahweh is the ancient of days, right? Which of course Yahweh got complete understanding of everything, right? But it says them that not know him not see his days. And you can tell by, of course, what's being done, the prophecies is being done, what Yahweh is up to. The Lord is at the end of this time, this rulership of Esau Edom, the wicked. Alright, we're going, and the Edomites, they know it, that's why they implementing what they're doing, which is their newer order.
Yeah, Job 14:5.
Because we can know they got but a short time, so they coming down with great wrath. You're seeing more of these moral laws. Alright, they're putting straight on the people. Keep reading.
Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away the flocks, and feed thereof.
Right, and we seen, of course, and Esau's still doing that. He's still conquering and taking over. Alright, moving, of course, landmarks. Right, look at Babylon. Look at America itself. Look how this man colonized this place. Took it from the Aboriginal people, which are Israelites. Of Gad. All right, Reuben, Rahban, Issachar. All right. You got, he went to the islands and such. All right, and he's took it and stolen. And not only that, he goes and extract all the resources out of the land and such, you know what I mean? And destroy it. Look out there. Stop.
Yeah, and read it again, my brother. I got an article I'm going to read about Esau's wickedness too.
24 verse 2. Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away the flocks, and feed thereof. They drop.
When you take away the flock, they take away access from you being able to get start a productive business. Like they'll make a piece of equipment cost like $40,000.
Yeah.
Like so, it's a buried entry.
It's essential.
It's a buried entry. So you got a electronic device that costs $40,000. It might cost $2,000 to manufacture, but the price of the device is $40,000. That's a buried entry. Yeah. So Esau, us being that poor, there's certain businesses that we can't readily jump right into. We got to do other stuff just to get to that point. There's a huge buried entry.
You can do that when you are in control of the resources.
And they looking at Belinda all credit. And you slayed supposed to be your brother, right? You slaughtered his flock or stole his flocks. So now you reaping all the benefits of that money, pretty much.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say that. You know that the term salary actually goes back to the word salt, because they used to pay the soldiers in the weight of salt, because salt actually had a value. So you could exchange that. We used to barter. That's how that would act as a medium of exchange. You take that salt, which was precious. See, that's another reason why you have mass production of everything too, because it doesn't really, salt is in so much abundance, right? So it not only lost its value, you can find it anywhere, and Esau took away its purchasing power, because you could take that salt then and get other resources. You take what you need, right? And that's another thing.
Same thing with gold and silver.
Right.
It made cash.
Right. It lost appreciation, and not just in a monetary sense, but it lost appreciation just in a general sense. Because a lot of people have this mentality that because they can go into a store any old time and buy these things, that it always was there. Okay? So they have no real appreciation for the goods in which they're able to access. You know? They're not concerned with how it came over and the shipping container and the labor that it took to get it out of the mine. You know? You used to have to go and do that, man. Or you would get a certain exchange for your labor, which, that fiat currency replaced the value of your labor at the end of the day. Because now they can manipulate you and control how much money you're able to make or not able to make.
Salaries. Yeah. Capping you with salaries.
And they're trying to dictate to you what your work is worth, what your labor is worth.
You like what? There's there's an article. I'm not sure if it was New York Times. They spoke of that. Say like if you work for like 2 years for a company, you make 50% less. Like say like meaning like the ability to rise up, you know, and within the company, it become less than 50% more than what. Whereas you have some like people who come in, like join the company, right? You have a dude like he from nothing. He just joined the company. Now he making more money than you. You work there longer and having it less growth for you to grow.
Right.
I mean, I can speak of myself. I mean, I've been at a company over a decade, and I've seen dudes come in and make way more money within even
within a shorter time, and the value of their work is, you know, pales in comparison to this brother.
Yeah, and you be like, what? Why should I sit there? That's why a lot of people are leaving Esau's workforce.
Right.
I mean, a lot of taking, of course, risks. You know, even though we under the curse, but the Lord knows with us. You know what I mean?
Just one more thing I want to add before the brother get to the article. When the brother reads that scripture again, I just wanted to say also with the fiat currency, you know, which you know they're debasing that every single day. But people are fighting for what they would consider a livable wage, right?
Yeah.
Because people can't really get by unless, of course, they have two sources of income, which requires the woman to actually go into the workforce to help support the family. You know, I think more than half the country is under or just on the poverty line. Because the median household income for most states, not all states, so nobody could say, oh, you said all. Most states is about $30,000 to $35,000. And guess what? Most jobs you work aren't paying you $30,000. That means that if you're not making that, all right, and you fall underneath it, you're in poverty because you can't afford just basic goods and services that you need in order to, you know, be stable.
Emergencies that come up. Emergencies.
Right. Well, yeah, that's another big thing. A lot of economics all agree, or economists, excuse me, all agree that most Americans don't even have a savings of $500, okay, in order to afford an outstanding expense or emergency that might come up.
Can't take away from being homeless.
Right?
Yeah, remember that government shutdown film? What's that, 2018 maybe?
I'm not sure exactly.
Complete
Right
government
around there.
shutdown.
Right around there.
You know what I mean? That showed it. And I mean, we see even nowadays with the whole, the pestilence outbreak, how they shut everything down.
Right. How many people lost their businesses? They lost everything.
People couldn't pay their rent.
The government did that, not a damn.
Right.
Yeah,
because they're the ones that decided what was essential and not essential. And you know, we don't have to go too deep in to see how hypocritical that was. You're worried about a mom and pop store that naturally only has a certain level of capacity, but your Walmarts and your Targets and your Acme's and your ShopRites were all able to have as many people in there at one time. Nothing changed.
Well, what they did to cover the ass was they had a person stand outside with a tent, so apparently counting, which is bullshit. That was just to make it look good.
Right.
You know? So they look there like they're not following the rules or something like that.
Right.
He's all slick, so he can get away with shit like that.
Right. That's
Like
hypocrisy.
Gucci function, he gets away with saying not wear stuff and then wear it. You know?
But the point still stands. A lesser, smaller shop can only hold so much, and these bigger ones are going to be more essential, and yet they hold more people. So it goes against their own guidelines. You're worried about the possible spread. Meanwhile, one naturally holds less and the other holds more, but even when it reduced its so-called capacity, it was still more than the one that held less. And they're worried about spread so damn much.
That doesn't even make sense.
It don't make sense, but you know, the point has been made. The brother wants to read that.
It's just about a restaurant. It's a restaurant called Steak 48. It's going to be straight to the point, not going to be even long. They pretty much get into let's read it.
Yep. Yeah, this is off CBS Philly, and you can read this article off of many newscasts because it's been posted just recently, so everybody's kind of in a buzz about it. But it's off of CBS Philly. I'm gonna read the caption. I got a little excerpt. So Philadelphia restaurant Steak 48's $100 minimum policy has social media sizzling with criticism.
That's per person.
Yep.
That's per person.
Per person, not including.
Per plate, yep. Per plate. Yeah.
Per person, not including tax and tip.
And then it's the reason they go to the reason why they say it should be 100. Now that's kind of fucked up because even high-end restaurants don't have like minimums, right? Like the Brazilian, Chima, whatever. They don't have. You had to have a minimum. What if you was going there for a drink and dessert?
It would be different if it was $100 all you can eat. You know, it'd be different.
That's a high-end restaurant. That's a high-end restaurant. So I'd say all you can eat.
But I'm saying, well, no, Brazilian steakhouses is like $50 a head, and then it's all you can eat fucking steak.
Oh,
That's how Brazilian steakhouses work. Yeah, it's like one strap. I mean, depending on where you go, it might be 75 or like that. But it's like all you can eat steak. All you can eat steak. Yeah. Actually, there's a really one called Fuga de Chao. On a separate note. Yeah. I've never been there, but everybody talks about it. But yeah, you know. So this is off the actual website themselves. Well, this is actually not off the website. This is. You would see it at the website, but this is outside the restaurant. Yeah, at the door.
And I think what they're saying, I think that what they're trying to allude to, that it's racist or something.
Yep.
It's so-called black people.
Well, yeah, because there was I was looking at another article, and they were basically saying, you know, there's also a dress code as well as this $100 minimum, or $100 minimum as well as a dress code. And they were saying about the dress code, a lot of the dress code attacked, you know, so-called blacks, right? Because what they kind of wear, kind of wear and all that. They said no t-shirts with graphics or sweatshirts with graphics on it, large graphics. They said. So.
They like Esau don't dress like that. I don't know what kind of customers they attract. I don't know. Maybe Esau, the archetype of Esau, he's wearing a suit. I guess that's what the model Edomite is wearing a suit. A tie, overcoat.
Well, they also said they incorporate this $100 minimum to basically, you know, keep Jake down, you know, or broke people down. But then the main people that are going to that fucking restaurant are old ass Edomites that can't eat fucking. They ain't gonna eat all that food. They gonna eat $100 worth of food that they were saying in the articles and stuff.
I mean,
you know,
we can like per person now. We can kind of get to 100 on. Well, you're not gonna get to. It's gonna be like probably $60 maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean per plate per person.
I'm not getting, because I was looking at the steak. You might get a steak. It's like $60. You might get yourself a drink. You're still only at $80. You have to buy something else. So like I said, this is outside the door. It says steak 48. It says $100 per person, food and beverage minimum. There's a $100 per person food and beverage minimum for each person at your table. Here's the reason. In order to ensure that each guest enjoys the total experience of food, service, and atmosphere. This does not include tax or tip.
Alright, that's the evil as hell. I mean, come on. And you trying to tell me that Esau is fair. This is the fair and balanced system. And this is a restaurant, right? Supposedly a high-end restaurant that is maximizing their profits out there. They have excuses why they live in a capitalist system. All right, this is why you got to certain businesses you got to stop patronizing. Don't even walk into their doors if they don't treat you fairly. And they get smart, they get funky with you, whatever. Get up and walk the fuck out. You don't have to be at these places. People that don't want you don't have to support their business. All right, but Jake is so stupid. Right. They still do it anyway. They still fucking do it anyway. You know? I'll be the first one like you get any shit at this fucking place. I would never fucking come back here. Alright? Until it's under fucking new management or some shit.
Yeah, Jake rather choose good food over dignity.
Yeah. They're not the only show in town.
Exactly.
It's like that'd be diverse.
Yep.
But if you went to the restaurants and all that, you know?
Hey, and like somebody put it, you know, if you can't afford to eat there, don't go.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that. Ain't nobody.
I'm not going. I'll never eat there.
Right.
Even though I can afford it, but I'm never fucking going there.
Yeah.
I'm never fucking eating at a place for the say.
But it is. Hey, look, let's stop with Ken. We're not gonna undermine what they're trying to do now. You know, I agree with that statement. However, you know, it's basically a way to segregate. And that's what it is. That's what people are calling attention to. And you can't deny that. You are definitely segregating people. You know?
Who's normally gonna go out and spend 400 hours total with 4 friends? I mean, just having a regular meal. You pretty much are kind of a certain type of person. If you're going to spend, you with 4 friends, you're going to spend 400 hours. So normally, you might spend 200. 60, 70 hours plate. know, the drinks and all
Yep.
that. You know, that's
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much you drink.
Yeah, you try to-
well,
you try-
you a restaurant actually.
You try to take a date out, you know, women don't generally eat a lot any damn way a lot of times, right? So now the woman has to eat $100 worth, you have to eat $100 worth. They said even the kids have to eat $100 worth.
Damn.
Yeah.
Young boy.
They said anybody in $100 per person.
Well, it's a high-end
Yep.
place, steak 48, so you know it's a popular
Yeah,
high-end.
they're ultimately probably trying to pay for it, because if you go in there and only order a $48 steak and they're not bringing enough income, they obviously can't fucking probably afford the place, you know. So they're probably trying to make it so where they can bring in more income, but
Yeah, 'cause some of these places is like the rent is like $20,000 a month, expensive as shit. So,
yep.
but you know, again,
But they don't want Jake coming in there just ordering his appetizers, you know, and causing a ruckus.
And a drink, jumping down.
I just seen a video. I guess there was a fight that broke out at Steak 48, and guess who was fighting? Fucking niggas. All right.
Was?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Frank Rizzo, he was
Fucking nigga woman actually
probably,
specifically.
You know, it was illegal for a certain amount of Jakes to gather in the corner. It was illegal. You had to cops come and break it up. That's why they tore his statue down, right?
2 months ago.
It's still there. They be graffiti. I'm not. Well,
right there on JFK. Yeah, they hand out like that.
yeah, I'm not sure.
It's 2 months ago. The nigga woman.
For Steak 48?
Yeah.
See, I mean, look, see, I don't see all that damn weave is fucking a damn brain up. Yeah, that weave fucking a damn brain up.
Yep.
Got a reaction video?
Yeah.
This is why you gotta stay away from
You got the white woman trying to break it up.
See, when they fighting, just don't even get in the middle of it.
Yeah.
You don't end up getting hurt somebody trying to hurt
It's-
them up.
Damn.
Give me read Isaiah 10th chapter again.
Finish up on this.
Isaiah 10. What did you have?
10 and 1.
10 and 1?
Okay.
No, well, you read 10 and 1. You read 10 and 1. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless.
Right, so Esau, he literally writes laws, he puts laws in the book to make it easy for Esau to discriminate against Jacob. Right? You know, we're not pulling a damn race card, it's just a fact. Esau writes laws that makes it easy and acceptable to discriminate against Jacob. I mean, look, if Esau don't want fucking Mexicans and Central Americans here, they need them because America's the birth is declining. So if you didn't have so-called immigrants coming to America, the population would be on a down. It would be going even worse than it's already going. Right? The Central Americans, so-called Central Americans, are Israelites. All right, from the tribes of Issachar and Zebulun. All right, Issachar and Zebulun. So look, you better be glad that you can. Well, it's divided amongst Esau. Esau is divided. You got certain Edomites that want cheap labor to work on the farms and do gardening and all that. Then you got the other Edomites that, but they used to be those Edomites until I guess Trump got elected. But before Trump got elected, those same Edomites wanted cheap labor. But then when Trump got elected, all of a sudden there was some type of split happening. Now part of them don't want the cheap labor, but they act like they don't want it anyway. And then the other ones, they want the cheap labor. They want to be quiet about it. You know, they want to be able to go to a Home Depot and pick up, you know, a bunch of carpenters, carpenters and plumbers and electricians and shit, cheap. You know.
You don't want the union.
He saw the most double-minded devil that ever existed. All right, he wants it both ways. He wants to have his cake, eat it too. All right, that's that expression. Yeah,
No, I was just, I know we kind of moved on from the restaurant thing.
Oh, you can go back to it.
But I just think people are not the brightest. You could choose to spend $400 or $500 in one night on a small portion of food. I don't even care if it's an overabundance of food. That's one night, and essentially that cost is gonna pay for what? Atmosphere and service.
Yeah, read that again.
Atmosphere and service. And if either one of those two is out of place, well, you just threw your money away. Essentially, if that's what you're paying for. See, you can take that same amount of money and I'm going to highlight something, okay? Because it's a steak place, right? It specializes in beef, steak in particular. Now I'm going to break something down real quick. According to this website, Clover Meadows beef, which is supposed to be farm fresh cows that you could purchase whole or in quarters, halves. But let's just analyze this. You could either eat at a steak place with a couple friends for about $500, or for $200 more, and this is just one purchase. For $700, you can get 135 pounds of beef. It includes approximately 60 pounds of hamburger, and the remaining 75 pounds are in a variety of cuts, like steaks, roast, ribs, brisket, tenderloin. It says that's the total price. So for $700, you can buy a quarter of beef, which again is 135 pounds of meat. So when you run the numbers on it, you're really not getting your value. $100 minimum for one fucking meal.
Speaking backwards.
Or you can invest, because like I said, let's say four people go to the thing, all right, and they know they're going to spend at least $100 a piece. Well, imagine if a family, all right, invested in some actual food, right? You take that same investment, split it 4 or 5 ways, and you have 135 pounds worth of food.
And the reason why was in order to ensure that each guest enjoys the total experience with food, service, and atmosphere. So you get to look at a bunch of other dudes,
Right.
That's close to shit to you.
Right.
It's loud as shit. You might not like what's even playing.
Right.
And then the food may be lackluster.
Lackluster. And certain
I
not.
better be full. I better leave
Right.
that bitch full as hell. Like not even be able to finish my plate if I'm paying $100 per fucking person.
And again, we're not talking about our ability or anybody's ability to afford it, but when you consider the decision you're making, and the investment you're doing, you might as well have a couple people get together and split 135 pounds worth of meat. That'll last you days, weeks, months, depending on how you diet. 135 pounds worth of beef can last you a long time if you run your diet right, man. Yeah. That's what we're saying. Over $500 for one night of maybe mediocre service. Because
Not including tip.
not including tip,
Not even including tip.
and you might not even like the score the food.
At least they could have said tip included. That'd have been like, okay, tip is included.
Well, they also that's not a big deal, but they also said any people over 5, they automatically put a 18% tip on there, automatically.
Oh, it's
Hey.
included.
It goes automatic. Yep.
And we're all for a good time and all that, but man, you gotta put this thing in
The
a
bullshit
perspective.
service and shit. Wow.
Perspective.
That's crazy.
Hey, that's a word. You can go fucking grocery shopping for like
That's what
a
I'm.
month.
That's
He
what
did
I'm
not.
saying. Yeah.
For 5 people, I mean, 5 people, $5. I mean, that's But again, it goes to the decision making. A lot of our wealth goes into restaurants, patronizing restaurants.
Yep.
A lot of if you look back on the amount of money you spend at a restaurant, or eating out. Sometimes it is necessary because of the type of lifestyle you live, but
Right.
but not steak 48 necessary. Right? not steak 48 necessary. You got to be wise. That's why
Right.
the Lord said
Right.
you're under a curse.
Right.
Deuteronomy 28 chapter. So you put out money in a bag full of holes.
Right.
Because a lot of times we have financial stupidity. We engage in that a lot.
Yep.
It's absolute stupidity.
Yeah. The only reason why a guy's gonna go out, take his girl to spend that kind of money is to try to impress her, because in this society, that's what women respect, and that's okay, because all the wealth is getting ready to come to its rightful place, and that's under the Israelites.
Not gonna dance that far in either.
all this bullshit hype of these rrestaurants is gonna pale in comparison to when we get the kingdom, man.
You saw one of them.
Because everybody wants to live like basically they want to live like a king. They
Yeah.
want to live like a king. You want to sell, you want to show you got money. You want to impress somebody. But see, all that is getting ready to be done away with, man. The Lord said that the fashion of this world fadeth away.
But the portion is
Just spending $100
really big.
on plates of food.
It's cool.
You know,
Oh,
It says Stake 48. $100 per person food and beverage minimum. Jake is spending money.
Yeah.
Jake is spending. You know? That's a curse. That's a curse. To be patron making these motherfuckers rich. Jake always talking about black businesses and all this shit.
Yeah, support black.
Support plate, like you spending $100 a plate. That's not even including the tip. You know. So again, I guess you can spend $100 on what's that, Don Julio? What's that expensive drink?
Yeah, $100 for the tequila. Don Julio.
Yeah, Don Julio. Yeah, I guess you can get the bottle. That's like how much the bottle?
$100. Between there's an $80 bottle, $100 bottle.
Yeah, but that's per person though. We had it, so you had to buy 4 bottles. So that's fucking demonic as hell.
Yeah, that's too
So even if I wanted to spend at least $100, I still have to be per person though. That's what it says in the damn sign. I'm not making it up. It says $100 per person.
Yep.
Look, look, man, you gotta lock the fucking pay for it. And this is just a damn restaurant.
Right.
That's all of the fucking tax money and all of the different programs that Esau is just hiding and stealing.
Right.
You know?
Well, the thing of it is there was the Grace Commission report done under Ronald Reagan, where they found out, where he said not even a nickel goes to the services that you think the government should provide. All right, meaning the income tax money. All the income tax money that they take from the people, because they claim that you're paying under a 1040, but you're really not. You're making a wage. You're not earning an income. You're not a business. So that technically, that tax law is don't apply to you. All right, and these people don't know that, anyways. But the level of money that they're extracting from the people is astronomical, and then here they're not actually taking care of their citizens. They're taking the money, it's going somewhere, but none of you are seeing it.
Yeah.
Which one?
That's why the infrastructure is failing, because they're not taking that money and reinvesting it back into the country. All right? Yeah. Mainly debt. It's mainly going to the debt to the international bankers. So here it is to support this fiat system that's in place, in order for this central banking system to continue. Esau borrows the money from the Federal Reserve, and then he sticks you with tax, and you're paying for it. You're paying for the money he's borrowing. In other words, to make it more make sense. All right. So the money Esau's borrowing, all right, to pay you back in these same borrowed fiat currencies, you're having to pay for through your taxes. And that's totally wicked. And that's how he's got people totally bugged out, man, over this damn dollar.
We did some math over here about what you're talking about. We just basically multiplied a toll booth for Lincoln Tunnel, Howard Tunnel, and we $16, and that's just for 2 accidents per day. So how many cars per day go through?
Exactly. So they said more than 100,000, right?
Per day.
Per day.
Go through Lincoln Tunnel, Howard Tunnel.
Howard Tunnel. Yep. And then like the brother said, this is a 2-axle, right? Because you know trucks that go.
Was that $16?
$16, yeah.
It's a 2-axle car.
Right.
But for trucks, it's 4 axles, 6 axles on a truck.
Yeah.
A semi would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 axles.
6 axle, yeah. Yep. It's $1.6 million they make a day.
So they go off the Holland Tunnel.
Right.
They make 1.6 minimum. That's minimum.
Right. Yep, minimum.
That's minimal for
Right.
2-axle cars.
Right.
$1.6 million a day, and they act like New York act like they fucking broke.
Right.
The Jersey Turnpike act like they fucking broke.
And, you know, and here's the thing, they'll tell you where they'll make signs that, you know, tell you this is where your tax toll money's going, but then the roads got all types of issues still.
Over 50 years.
Come on, man, yeah.
They keep digging them up.
Then they got interest in investments that the city does and
Right.
the state does.
Yeah.
You know that money missing, okay? And it's missing because it's going into the hands of the wealthy.
Yeah, they're going to military aid. Other
Yep.
countries
And so what the brother said about none of the money going to the actual people to maintain, that's creeps to them.
Right, to maintain the infrastructure, the education, all of that they say.
Like $500 million a year.
Yeah.
Just minimum.
So this says, this is back in 2018. It says the Lincoln Tunnel's gross revenues for 2018 are projected to be $237 million.
For what?
For 2018. The Lincoln Tunnel's gross revenue.
Remember, that's just one tax. I think there's hundreds of different forms of taxes an average American pays for yearly.
Oh, and then it says with a net income figure of $173 million after expenses. So they're making $173 million after they pay for all the expenses.
Yeah, man. People need to wake the hell up.
Yeah, employees, So that's imagine if we were to keep digging and all the it wouldn't add up to why a lot of roads is is fucked up,
Okay.
Get Isaiah 14.
Okay.
The one that's right underneath.
Yeah.
Isaiah 14. You saw the damn thief. Give me John 10:10.
Oh shit! So this is what they said. The Holland Tunnel says
That's financial district too. So.
it says as Jersey City Toll Plaza will collect 202.7 million in tolls in 2018, according to the agency. That will translate to 120 million in income after operating expenses and maintenance costs. After subtracting tunnel capital spending for the year, the agency has a free cash flow total of $81.6 million from the tunnel.
And they can multiply that
a year.
Investments,
Yep.
That's what Esau does. That's how he gets so rich. He just takes a little bit of money and just keeps investing it and getting investments and getting interest off the investment. 10 and 10? Well, the thief cometh not but to steal. That's what I want.
This is John chapter 10, verse 10. It says, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy.
Yeah, so all the money Esau is collecting is not being distributed to the people properly. He's stealing it. And Esau is the main thief. There's so much that he stole the whole entire North America. And he got Central America and South America under tribute.
Right.
And he facilitates some damn drugs. And he uses Issachar as transporters to transport the fucking drugs.
That's fucking
right. And then he makes money off every fucking transaction.
Well, they get a whole North America.
What do you do with $563 million?
All the way up into Canada.
Yeah, from Canada.
All the way up into Canada.
Yeah, Canada, America, we have enough oil to support ourselves. We don't need Saudi Arabian oil and Iranian oil.
That's just
What they do, the reason why they're over there is so they can control the power going on over there in the east. That's why Esau's over, not because we need the oil. America has enough internal resources to produce itself. Canada has enough resources, oil anyway, to be self-sufficient. The big cars up going down the streets. Esau is over there in the Middle East because he wants power.
Yeah.
He wants to control the Arabs. He wants to control the Japhites and the Chinese. He's using the oil over in the Middle East as a weapon against the enemies.
Covetous.
Covetous.
Remember, they said covetous man. So it's not good enough that he has his own oil reserves and resources. He has to go and regulate others.
Policemen are over the world.
Right.
Esau's known for. Police in the earth.
George Washington Bridge. Yeah, so George Washington Bridge is the #1 when it comes to free cash flow, right? So we read earlier it was $178 million for the Holland Tunnel. The George Washington Bridge says the Port Authority's big cash cow for 2018, as it is most years, is the George Washington Bridge, projected to bring home $563 million in cash-free flow for the agency. It says while the JWB is projected to collect $805 million in tolls in the coming year, about $130 million in operating and maintenance costs will mean the world's largest bridge will generate net revenues of $676 million. Subtract another $113 million or so in capital spending, mainly on replacement of the bridge's suspended rope and rehabilitation of its main cables, and that's $563 million in free cash flow. A year, $563.
And then the Verrazano Bridge
And yet they still have the audacity to fucking raise the fucking tolls every year. They still have the audacity to say, you know what? How much more can we get in tolls?
Right. The Verrazano Bridge was, I believe that's within Staten Island with the Brooklyn, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Verrazano, it used to be one-way toll.
Yep.
Now it's a two-way toll. Now you got to pay, get
Bridge,
the fuck out of New
fucked
York,
up bridge ever. Little ass
back
fucking
into
bridge.
Jersey on the Staten Island. All right, so it's getting, the condition is getting worse. So if they were collecting $10 going one way, they essentially just double the damn money. But then they say, oh, if you're a New York resident, you get a discount.
And remember, that's just one of the hundreds of taxes Americans pay annually.
Yep.
Annually, you still got to pay your income tax, which could be anywhere from 10% of your annual income to 30% of your annual income, depending on what bracket you fall in.
The bridge is just for one area.
And the thing of it is a lot of the times you're putting in that 10% and you're getting back way less. Let's just put it that way. Okay? Because if you're not able to claim certain things, then you continually put more in and you're not getting anything really back. So that's income tax now. I just want to make that comment on income tax. That's an annual tax you have to, required by so-called law, because we know the law don't really exist. All right, they might reword it to put pressure on people to pay it because of the IRS. We understand all that. But Americans are obligated, all right, through punishment of law and under the color of law, you have to pay an annual income tax. That's an automatic 10 to 30% of your annual income, depending on where you fall, as far as how much money you make. And on top of that annual income, they're taking away from you each check. You have to pay bridge tolls, which is a tax.
Yeah, that's this fancy way of saying
You have to pay tax on food, clothes, and of course that varies depending from each state. But you have to pay tax on everything. Technically, you're supposed to report online purchases because you're supposed to pay a tax on that.
July 7th.
At the same time, man, Esau is taking that very same monetary system in which he's paying you and turning around and controlling you through all these different levels of taxes. That's why you can never get ahead. And then it's constantly losing its value. So here it is, the price of goods go up, and you continue to make the same rate of pay.
Wow, inflation.
While you have inflation. You know? And that's why Americans are in so much debt. And you know, and then at the same time, what's Esau doing? Esau's selling you that lie. You know, the American dream. You know, he feeds into these people's impulses. You know? Remember, America is a consumer nation, right? These people consume more than they produce. And Esau pushed that mentality, man. Keeping up with the Joneses. Gotta have the nice house, the nice car, the white picket fence. Selling you a BS pipe dream that really only a few can attain. And then, you know, hey, all that comes with a price. So at the end of the day, as the scriptures say, you're not supposed to labor to be rich. It ain't worth it. You got to compromise too much of yourself to live that type of lifestyle.
You got a precept?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ecclesiastes 5 and 10. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance will increase. There's also vanity.
Yeah, silver talk about the money, the sop.
Yep.
Right. It say, he that, read it again, Michael.
Ecclesiastes 5 and 10. He that loveth silver shall not be satisfied with silver, nor he that loveth abundance will increase. There's also vanity.
Right. You know, so if you loving money, look, you're never gonna be satisfied. All right, that's why, you know, you chasing to be the top, you know, nigga. You mean to have everything is foolish. You know what I mean? It's tell you in the scriptures to trust not in uncertain riches as well. Though money is a defense, money also lifted itself wings, give itself wings, and we can get that too. I'll be shocked. You know what I mean? And the love of money, all right, is the root of all evil. Not that you can't like you having money and stuff, but if you going after it, you going after it But that love, that's a way of worshiping mammon. All right.
And remember those things, that's temporary pleasure. Without the Most High, without Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, without understanding, you know, it does very little for you. You got to have Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? Yeah, that's going to ultimately fill that spiritual void. That's what's going to enable you to enjoy such riches. And because the world is without that, you know, it really is vanity. You come into money, all types of things can happen to you. All right? A lot more harm than good can come onto you. All right? In your pursuit of riches, in your pursuit of fame. That's why we patiently waiting on Yahweh Bashem Yahushua till He make us a praise and give us fame in the earth. Because then we'll actually be able to enjoy those riches. We'll be able to enjoy that incorruptible gold, that incorruptible silver. All right? Because we'll be made perfect vessels. On this side, it's all vanity, man. It could be, like your brother said, it could be taken away from you. It could be stolen. You could die. What are you going to do then? So you can't really enjoy this on this side, man. And then even if you do come into wealth, if you do come into riches, like I said, it comes with sacrifice. It comes with conditions. That's why the Lord said, labor not to be rich. It ain't worth it, man. It ain't worth exchanging your soul or your morals, all right, your scruples, your standards for money. All right, a lot of people fall into that shame where they sell themselves, okay, whether it's corporate, on a corporate level, whatever, you got to sell out. You know? Like you become a manager or whatever, you start to move to a company, all right, you might want to do a certain thing in the company, but they're not going to allow you to do it because of policy. And then what are they going to do? They're going to threaten you like, listen, man, we can find somebody else. You're not going to do it, somebody will. Just for a couple extra $1,000, you know, moving up the ladder.
Yes, I say the same thing about schools, right? Teachers, right? Teachers have to follow a curriculum, right? You can't just go in there and teach the students what you want to teach or what you feel is right.
Even if it's right, or if it's wrong. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And then maybe you want to create your own school. You still, like, there's still regulations that Esau makes you follow, irregardless, you know? So you don't, and like the brother said, the same thing with management. Like, you can only do so much, and then you're followed. You're under that policy. That if you deviate from, they'll fucking fire you, and they'll find someone that will stick in line, right?
Right. And what do these people normally do? Because they don't have any type of morality. They're gonna choose the money. They're gonna choose job security, so to speak.
And like I said, the only thing you could do is really create your own business. But look how many business owners got fucking taken away because like I said, it all comes down to Esau, and Esau can wipe you clean if he needs to, right? With just his own fucking rules and regulations.
And that's not just a scarcity mindset. You got Jakes, you know, out here talking about, well, you know, it's how you perceive, because you can take, you know, this down and make it a positive and you know, gain off it. Look, man, we're not into all that, all right, at the end of the day, because we know that we use that, say that thing, all right, try to capitalize, you know, on somebody else's grief or whatever, want or need, you're gonna fail in the day of judgment, man. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the, well, you know, for these so-called entrepreneurs and you know, look, the optimism is good for a certain point, or up to a certain point, I should say, right? Because you're trying to stay in the business, whatever, that's admirable. But at the end of the day, if you don't realize that all of this has an end, then you're a fool. Okay, and you're going to be taken off guard when the Lord begins to, you know, proclaim that judgment, or that judgment starts to come down. And then, like the brother quoted earlier, we read earlier about how riches shall not profit you in the day of today.
Yeah, you can't break from riches.
What's that?
So Yahweh
Hey, look, if it's a righteous opportunity, go ahead, seize it, man. If it's in line with the scriptures, go ahead, seize your opportunities. But ain't gonna do much if you don't have the understanding and wisdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They're gonna fail you, man.
They say not to be usable, but not abusable.
Exactly.
Right.
That's it.
This is Job 20 verse 15. It says he has swallowed their riches and he shall vomit them up again.
Yeah, swallowed down rich. $100. Go back to that. $100 per person.
All comes back.
Minimum. Not per plate. You share a plate, or at least spend $100, or $100 per person. Swallowed down rich, and that's light work. 3 money to the toes.
Right.
300 million a year. Just on one fucking toe.
Right.
And that's on one area. That's just in one area of the country.
Income tax.
And they're making trillions of dollars per year. Trillions.
Yep, right. And we even touched the surface of fucking, these hedge funds that be manipulating the markets, man.
Yep.
And the trillions and fucking billions of dollars they be fucking making these hedge funds, to, in total, right?
And something that's really important to understand about that is money is never lost. It's just transfer. That money went somewhere. And see, they making millions off the little guy.
Right, and they got mad when that money got transferred to the little guy, right? They started saying, no, this can't happen.
Right, we need more government.
Then the government wants to, because why? Because there was starting to be a redistribution of wealth, and it made it really, really easy for the fucking poor person to put $1,000 in, just a little bit of all they had in there to fucking get 20, 30, 40. Man, some people put like the whole.
It's okay if a few slip through the cracks. They'll allow that. That's permissible. But if it gets to be too much, we got to come in and regulate that.
Yeah, we can't band together and create our own fucking bridge, make it $600 million a fucking year. We can't do that. Esau won't allow that.
That's why I get mad at these people who talk about, Jake needs to just, have a different perspective. The thing of it is we've had businesses. All right? Black Wall Street. We did all that. And what happened? Esau came in there and destroyed us, man. That proves that we need the kingdom. We can't establish ourselves in Esau's kingdom. It's never gonna work. It's never gonna work. We have plenty of examples that we can go into where Jake already been doing that shit. Jake already been doing that, man. Right. We already did that. We already tried that more than once. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah, we already did that. Jake already been doing that. And as you can see, you can't do dealings with Esau. Okay? He took control, all right, everything, the resources, the land. That's why he can come in and he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and a good like you said, the household is one. A good example of a transition of wealth is simply going to a casino and hitting big. Yeah, you might have hit big, but the amount of people that lost money at the casino, and the casino might have lost $1 million to you, but they made 10 times over that. Over the little bit that you won, right? So that's a small example of this transition of wealth, but they'll allow it, right? They'll allow somebody to hit big. But that's why if you go to like the blackjack table and you have a little bit of a strategy like counting cards, right? And you run a little game, they'll fucking cut you. They'll say no, you gotta leave.
Let's get this guy out of here.
Well, so legally you can count cards. But legally, but legally the fucking casino is a private-owned corporation, so they can just tell you to fucking leave. We don't want you here.
Yeah, they have their own policies.
Yeah, like, look, we don't want you here no more. Well, why can't I be here? Because we don't want you here.
Basically enter into like a user agreement.
Yep. But that's the thing. So when you start creating unfair advantage, you start reaping in that money. They'll cut you out. So, and that's just like with everything, right? Anytime you start to make a little bit, the Esau will find a way to fucking
just remember,
put a gatekeeper in front of you.
For people who don't understand what we're trying to say, you got to consider the level of hypocrisy that goes into these decisions.
Oh yeah,
So you can't do anything to help benefit and gain a little bit of advantage while they're over there just stealing millions. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because the casino always has an advantage. Yeah, the casino always has that advantage and an edge over the player. The moment you try to get an advantage, that's where it's a problem. That's where you're wrong. It's fucking.
That's how Esau plays. That's how Esau plays.
Yep.
That's how he plays the game. But we gotta get these precepts. Right. Yeah, he gonna vomit everything he stole. Because the scriptures talk about, all right, ill-gotten gain, and that's what we highlight. Everything that Esau does is through maliciousness, man, ill will. He's trying to trip you up, steal everything that you got. All right, and continue your captivity. Yeah, further your oppression.
Tax. Like if you drive without insurance, I believe the fine is like $400. If the police officer pulls you over, you can't furnish proof of insurance.
Right.
I think the fine is $400 bucks. That's a tax.
Right.
You didn't kill anybody, didn't hurt anybody.
Right.
But they tax you. So if you don't follow certain regulations and rules, you get taxed. You have to pay it. If you don't pay it, then they'll suspend your license, which will make things difficult for you. If you owe a certain amount, you can wind you up behind in prison.
Limestone, take your car and pound it. Leave it impounded and tow.
All because you
Storage fees.
Oh yeah, storage fee. That's another tax.
Yeah.
It's another tax. The officers are happy because he's justifying his paycheck.
Right.
He might get a promotion, more arrest or tickets he write or whatever. Then they say, oh, well, quota don't exist. In New York, it definitely exists.
You bring out this by me. Get up. I got that. It kind of goes in.
I think this brother's still reading.
Are you still reading?
It says, he has swallowed their riches, he shall vomit them up again.
You have trillions of dollars Esau makes off the people unjustly. He's going to vomit them up. And we're going to create our own bureaucracy. He's going to have to buy from us. He's going to be the chefs, the cooks, and all that, and he's going to buy from us at the same time. So basically, we're going to have a Walmart kind of system running for Esau. So we're going to provide everything they need to live and room and board. Right? Like you do over in Japan or China, I think, something like that. They have a system where you work for them. There's a documentary on it, I forgot how exactly it went. But you can live there. So part of your paycheck goes to your rent, part of your paycheck goes to your food, then other fees. That's how we're gonna have Esau. Yep. We're gonna have Esau subjected to payments. We're gonna get him a 360 deal. Everything is gonna be completely controlled by us. Everything is from his life, death, his total well-being, his work, his power over his family. Completely, we're gonna have complete power over his whole family, power over all his finances. Right? We're gonna have Esau on bills. Right? He's gonna have to be paying bills every fucking whatever the week or month or whatever. He's gonna be subject to payments. Right? We're gonna have a total monopoly over the so-called free market. It's gonna be free to us. Yeah. Everything's gonna be free for us anyway. Yeah. But we'll trade for fun, I guess. But Esau gonna be total subjection in the kingdom, and the other nations too. We're gonna have them at Walmart type jobs and shit.
Yeah.
Buying everything from us. They want blankets and drinks, food.
Yeah, they want fresh fruit.
They want clean socks.
Yep.
They want more gloves to go back into the mines, to mine more gold or whatever. Mine to get more sapphire jewels. Get mask or whatever. Yeah, they got to come to us to get the proper tools to protect themselves when they go in. They got a damn. They ain't gonna have a problem with it anyway. If they have a problem with it, we're gonna know it, and then we're gonna correct the problem. We're gonna tighten them up. They might not survive the tighten.
Verse 18, it says, that which he labored for shall he restore.
We're gonna restore everything. All of the opportunities that we missed on this side, they're gonna be irrelevant in the kingdom because we're gonna have every opportunity.
But he gonna pay for that shit.
Yeah, he gonna have to pay for all the opportunities that we missed.
Yeah,
every amount of money we missed, every payment we had to pay, Esau gonna have to pay out of his ass. Then we're gonna extract flesh from him, and that's gonna be a part of his life. Every time Esau get one whip on his back, that's gonna be more correction for one sin he did. So the 10,000 sins he did, every year of his life, every day of his life is gonna be payback for that. And then he's gonna be burnt up.
He's gonna be Lord won't be able to look at his past lives. Like, oh shit, you were responsible for this too?
Right, yeah, you set in motion these series of events that caused all this to happen.
Right. Remember, he got 1,000 years, he got it. So Lord gonna have to call to mind all the wickedness this man did. Everything.
Well, we gonna telling Esau, if you work harder, you'll get ahead. You work, all you gotta do is work harder.
Oh, you were a distant cousin to the Rothschild? Oh, hell no. That's on automatic 15 lashes. Right. And who, I like a lot of these, different programmers, man, like these Elamites, these engineers and all that. Y'all gonna catch major help because you helped enable this man rule in his technological advances. A lot of our burden is all this technology, man, acting as a double sword. Causing all types of problems, man. Like the different radiation that these cell phones and towers radiate, cause our bodies to be messed up, our brain not to function as much as it should. You're gonna have to pay for all that, man. And anybody contributed to that technology, y'all gonna pay for that, man. I don't care if it was in ignorance or not. If you built the little device that caused the emission of the frequency, you're going to pay. You know? All of that, you know? These big tech companies that are contributing to the New World Order, you know, causing the chips to be made, all of that, man, all that's going to be called into question, all right? And they're going to have to give an account. Yahushua going to destroy, all right, the dominions of the earth, and then we going, you know, pick up where he leaves off, essentially as a joint heir.
Yeah, the monopoly of technology and money system, the Lord going to destroy that when Babylon destroyed. As soon as the stock exchange is destroyed, the infrastructure, all the so-called modern technology is destroyed. It's going to be, you're going to have kingdom of heaven technology, whatever that may be. You're going to have our technology, our kingdom, our spiritual technology, and that's going to rule. So Esau has no dominion over that. He has no idea even how to use that. But Esau is not spiritual.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know that common adage, you know, if you use more than 20% of your brain like that, we're going to be using more than 20% of our brain, man.
Yahushua open up.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have a full understanding of things that Esau don't understand, man. The majority, that nobody understands.
Remember, it wasn't given to him.
Yep, exactly.
It's given to us.
Exactly.
In his time.
But he will understand why he's getting his ass.
Oh hell yeah.
Why he's getting beat.
It ain't gonna be a secret.
He's gonna have our monuments set up and our paintings set up and everything. They're all gonna look like Israelites.
Yep.
Icons.
Yeah. He's all gonna try to deny. We're gonna allow it to play out right before him.
Make him.
Well, matter of fact, he gonna make him paint.
Yeah,
make him
paint my shit.
sculpt our images.
Yeah, make my shit.
And our statues and our buildings. Well, he's gonna be doing it anyway.
He's gonna be building.
He's gonna have David, but not even naked. And he have a 2.5 inch penis. But Esau gonna be a great sculptor. You know, like we had the what's it called, the seraphims, I think, on the mercy seat. I believe it's called.
Seraphims.
And those are the pictures of the sculptures of the angels. Esau it's gonna be undeniable that we're gonna be the kings of the earth, and they're gonna grow up as slaves too. So once that first generation is gone, the children they ain't gonna know nothing but captivity. Yeah. Just like our people. They're gonna be even worse. But we're gonna have a billion times more power than Esau had than us. You know, it's gonna be the dynamic's gonna be different. And why?
It says it shall not swallow. That what you labor for shall he restore, it shall not swallow it down. According to acceptance.
You know, we should look into, just because you said it, we should look into how long it takes for basically generations to adopt that mentality. Because our people probably for the first, 50 years, all types of rebellions, 100 years, all types of rebellions. Remember, there was still a remnant of what used to be, right? You know? So we're gonna beat out of them their memorial, all that they thought made them great. Their heritage, they have no heritage anyways. They're gonna be reminded every day that they're nothing more than a beast. All the great men that they thought they were, and all that gonna be taken away from them.
Well, see, the Rothschild, the first family, the ones that we know anyway. I'm sure they had predecessors, but the ones that we know, we don't have to bring them back to when they were younger. They're about to fucking die. So we have to revitalize them with their spirits. We're going to have to might get some of them new bodies. A lot of them are like on their deathbed or dead.
But you imagine the mentality the mentality the Edomites gonna have to, after 100 years of hardcore bondage, their children, like we're saying, all they're gonna know is slavery. So they're gonna
they are their children anyway, right? Yeah,
right, but they're gonna have a different mentality from the first 50 years, 30 years. You know,
the new niggas is this
right.
New slaves.
You know, Esau going to try to rebel, and then he'll have to get whipped back into submission.
We're going to have chain gangs. Okay?
Yeah, because everything has to be rebuilt. Yeah. That's going to take a lot of time, man.
It's got to be very well organized.
And first of all, we're not going to have one house. We have multiple houses for multiple different uses. Which is the way it's supposed to be. All all right? In villages, cities, you know,
Yeah.
treasure cities. We're gonna have treasure cities, man.
Yep. Yeah, Esau gonna be the new Mexican.
And we're not gonna make it easy.
Yeah.
We're not making it
Esau gonna
easy.
be building up.
They're gonna have to go in to the crest of the earth, and, you know? Yeah.
Rare,
We gonna send them on missions.
rare and fucking open. You gotta go. You're gonna be beastly.
You know? And we're gonna have to, what they say, the Sabaeans are gonna be taskmasters, so we have to send these
Right, yeah.
Hamites to go accompany the journey.
Yeah, you go. So, more?
And we just meditating. The Lord said we're gonna meditate terror. We meditate, you know?
Because we gotta get the kingdom together.
based
properly.
upon what we know, you know, we spiritually speculating, but the Lord gonna open up the vision even more when the time comes, and we gonna know, man. Look, we gonna know exactly how things are supposed to be, because right now we're learning. You know, we relearning, you know, everything about who we're supposed to be, right? That mentality of kingdomhood, kingdomship is being reinvigorated. Right?
It says that which he labored for, so he can store, and so not swallow it down. According to his substance, so the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein.
Yeah, and that's a long time
Yeah,
too.
man.
For centuries too. Not just talking about 2021.
Hell no.
Or how much money we made because of the blog or whatever.
Right.
Talking about from 1492, probably before that. You know, we can go to the Roman Empire too. There's a lot of time periods you can go to. Esau was a thief and he's stealing. You know, he stole a lot of gold and silver from the mines in Spain and Germany.
The different captivities that we were in,
Oh yeah.
right? That he contributed, joined onto the enemy.
Oh, Puerto Rico, South America, all of the gold resources. And, yeah, he sold a lot to pay for. Is that it, Amon?
That's it.
You got another one?
That's it.
Another scripture?
Zechariah 9, verse 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope.
Yeah, instead of looking at Esau coveting what he got. Esau, what he got here, when he just read, is going to be thrown up. Right? When he has the gold and silver, they hide, so they're giving you the FRNs. Right? Don't covet those riches, because you're going to get unlimited riches in the kingdom. You're not going to really even have to buy anything in the kingdom, because you're going to have everything. Everybody going to have their own country, their own business. They're not even going to have to work. You're not going to have to check the books and all that to figure out whether you lost money this day or whatever. You can do it if you want, but you're going to be getting 100% profit back. You know, it's not going to be. It's going to be a plantation, literally, so you can consume what's on your plantation. That's what it's going to do. You can trade with your family or whatever, but you know, you have enough to survive in your home if you need to. Well, if you want, but you will have it anyway, because you're going to be a royal king. Yeah? You got to have princesses, not queens.
Right. We're gonna have real family enterprise.
You're able to walk anywhere, go anywhere you want. You ain't afraid to get shot up, shot down, get two slapped twice in the back of your head, walk in the wrong neighborhood. You're throwing it in the fucking trunk and you extort it for money and get your fingers cut off. None of that gonna happen.
Or bodies falling out the sky, landing on you. Wild animals, beasts.
Yeah, worry about child molesters and people trading demonic ass pictures with each other.
Bro, there was a documentary that the BBC, I think, did, and man, I forget exactly the number that they said, but they said that there was so much, I'll just say CP, all right, that I think it was centuries or hundreds of years of video, man. That's disturbing. That's extremely disturbing.
That's wicked. Well, they say you can't reform a pedo. You have to either chemically castrate him or kill him. Or throw him in jail. So that's Esau. So that's there you go. One of those three got to happen.
And Esau enables all of that activity, you know? Because he's supposedly monitoring it. He claims he can't keep up. For each time, you know, they capture somebody or they close a site down or whatever, a whole bunch more go up. That's because they monitoring that, but they also regulating it. They're enabling it. They're enabling it. And the whole dark web was created by the army. You know?
Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee.
I will render double unto thee. So it's not going to be the same. It's going to be twice, at least twice as bad. Because the Lord, the Israelites are going to have, they're going to be superhuman. Okay? Super Israelites. They're not going to be men of same countenance like we are right now. Our faces are going to literally shine. We're going to be pushed to another level higher.
When I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow of Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion.
Right, so meaning when the Lord brings the northern kingdom and southern kingdom together under him, under Yahushua, and when we come back together, we're not just bullshit, we actually preaching the gospel, coming back to our heritage, our identity. Right? We're not just coming together to do business, we're coming together to acknowledge and serve Yahushua.
Against thy sons, O Greece, and made
the Greece right there represents the Edomites. Right? That doesn't represent the Japhites. It does not represent the original Greece. It represents Alexander. He united the Greek city-states under his demonic evil ass. All right. Because I believe before then, they were divided to the different city-states or whatever. And they had their own like governments and laws and all that, but they still recognize themselves as Helen, descended from Helen. But you had Israelites in that same mix too that identified the same way. They were Israelites. So Alexander, that devil, that's what we're talking about, and his progeny from them.
They got precept to qualify that. This is 1 Maccabees chapter 7. That's 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule everyone in his place. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth, and there came out of them a wicked root. Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome, he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
Kingdom of the Greeks, yeah. So they established that kingdom that was different from the pre-Alexander kingdom. So this is a different kingdom.
Right.
Ruled by the Edomites.
Right.
Now, of course, you still had Israelites and Japhites under them, but that's when the influx of Macedonians, which Edomites, came in. It started having a lot of sets, intermixing. That's when Esau takes over a land, he brings in his people, then he mixes with the people. That's what Esau does.
And made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
Read back up a verse.
Come. Fill the bow of Ephraim, and raise up thy sons, O Zion, and against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
Yeah, because Jacob is against the Edomite Greeks. Right? We're in opposition. But Scripture says he should bruise thy heel. This is getting how to go.
Bruise thy heel. In Genesis, the 3rd chapter, I think it is. Damn, I'm just
what's the scripture asking you?
This is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 14. It says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment.
Continual employment.
Yeah.
They should sever out men of continual employment. That's why we're talking about all the, speculating on how the kingdom is going to be. Right? Because Esau is going to be in complete subjection. Right? And we ain't gonna make it to the kingdom talking politically correct. You know, trying not to touch, you know, hard issues or tough issues. All right, and we can do it very eloquently. We don't let it be, you know, how you want us to be. How the clips you're gonna take and use as a complete character when we act, you know, because you deem crazy or whatever, arguing with a certain person. All right, that's okay. That's part of the shame. All right, you're gonna try to put us to shame, but again, we're gonna win anyway in the end, because the Howard Shai is going to destroy Babylon, America, and everything, every evil thing that was ever done here is going to be destroyed. Even our wickedness that we've done is going to die here. Scripture say death and hell are cast into the lake of fire. Right? That's going to be erased. But continue on. Read it again.
This is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 14.
Yeah.
It says, and they shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth to cleanse it.
Yeah, they're gonna be buried. Bodies gonna be buried. I believe it said something about that. Bodies gonna be buried, and Esau and the nation, they're gonna be burying the bodies. So it tells about them going into a pit. You got to bring them out after many days. You know, that's gonna be a huge pit. It may be several pits.
Crazy.
You know, yeah, it might be several pits or a big ass crater or something. But Esau's gonna be gathered in there. You know, and then we got to breed them like they bred. They got to breed them like at breeding farms. Set them up.
Yeah, they did us dirty. They showed that underground railroad movie series on Amazon. Esau sitting there going in the room like, yeah, I'm gonna be overseeing all of the buck activity to make sure y'all, of course, reproduce. But you had certain Jake, they didn't want to, of course, have sex, you know, with the other Jake woman because, hey, I just know that I'm just being used, this offspring being used to what? Bring forth more slavery, or more benefits for the master, you know. But then Esau. Then Esau like, well, he refusing. Now I know he refusing. Now I'm gonna make sure he do it. You go in that room and make sure you know, pretty much bang that other bond woman. Bond man and the bond woman has a sex, and of course create the wealth. We were the damn cattle. Right. And we still are to this day because fucking Esau still using us for his benefit, his fucking interest.
Right, yeah, because you used to be Esau's property. I mean, so you would work out on the plantation.
Yep.
Then when you was done, like they would have, I guess depending on the plantation you was in, you have some damn bullshit recreation. Yeah. Fire, food, maybe playing a type of string instrument or something. You know? But then you gained nothing. And then Jake lived like that for hundreds of years, happy like that. Just working on a plantation. When you're done, you eat, sing songs, go to sleep, and then do that shit back, do it all over again the next day. Without ever getting the fucking paycheck. I guess your paycheck was your food and you being able to sing Negro spirituals over or under a fire, eating fried fish or whatever the fuck.
You know what? You know what movie comes to mind as your brother's talking about that?
Roasted chicken. I guess.
Is
Roasted
Django.
chicken and pork.
And you remember when, Leonardo DiCaprio's character, which was Mr. Candy, was entertaining Jamie Foxx, which was Django, and I forget the other guy's name. But anyways, when they were entertaining him, when they got there, what do? They watched Mandingo fighting. Then when they were sitting down to eat dinner, Jake was the one serving, cooking, right? Pouring the wine. Then right before all hell started to break loose and they were gonna have their cake, you heard music being played in the background. You know? Jake was doing all that. Jake was doing everything.
I told you I delivered to look at that like that. Like, Jake's working in the laboratory.
Well, right. A lot of them. You had the nannies, the housekeepers. You know, that's still Jake. That still happens today. Yeah. But yeah.
Some targets. It's incentive to hire so-called minorities or whatever. They get tax cuts or whatever.
Yep.
So you some certain jobs like a Target, in certain places too. in Walmarts, you'll have like Judah, Ephraim, Issachar there just working in the store. You'll have very little Edomites.
So the point is Esau is going to be reduced to a servant. Just like you see illustrated in the movie
Fried
Django
cooks.
and other movies, yeah.
Bakers.
No, we're not going to be wicked like Esau, you know? Yeah, doing all types of evil, you know. Because when Esau had us in captivity, he was having sex with the men, he was popping the children, he was doing all types of manner of evil. We're not going to do that, man. But you are going to be our servants, okay? And you are going to be reduced, all right, to a subservient level.
Fresh baked bread every morning. Esau gonna be rolling the dough, making tortillas, all that. Esau gonna be in total subjection.
Total subjection.
Total subjection. If you want fresh water from the mountains, he gonna go and get that fresh spring water from the mountains.
Right. Subservient means to be prepared to obey others unquestioningly. Unquestioningly.
Without question. This is not negotiable.
Right.
Yeah, they're going, shit. Hey, you want to have them in a damn uniform or whatever, what's your family name on there or whatever, having them in a damn uniform, family name, you know?
Oh yeah, they're gonna have that.
Belonging at your beck and call, you know?
Belonging to. Yeah.
Standing up, you know? Just waiting, you know, fanning you and all that, sitting on the throne. Because the prophecy is that we're going to be a nation of kings and priests. Let me get the account. There's one in Exodus and there's one in Peter's, I think.
Oh, we were a nation of
Kings and priests. Yeah. So they're essentially, well, not essentially, we're royalty. So Esau's going to be so for one man, you probably might have like 10 servants. You might have servants for different things. You might have 10 servants to be cooks. For breakfast, you might have another 10 for lunch. Another 10 for dinner. However many meals you might have. You might have servants just to prepare for the Sabbath. When the Sabbath comes, to prepare for it. Because you know, right now you got these rich people that have houses just for the winter, for the winter time. So when you're rich, when you're making dozens of millions of dollars a year, you have homes all over the country. You have to have, like the Black Lives Matter, just for example. That chick, she had a house in Maui, I think, and in Florida, and in Los Angeles, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So, and she was broke compared to Esau, Edomite rich. Hell, lightweight, you know. They can fly around to go to France for lunch, like that. They get wine and fucking sandwich and shit, and they can fly back to the States or wherever. Esau can do that, and that's broke. That's broke compared to what we going to do in the kingdom. Fly around, and that shit. Well, it might not even be organic. Well, the term organic is going to be destroyed in the kingdom. Everything's going to be clean, without pesticides and having to produce like manure or whatever, because it has the nutrients in the manure. I may not have to do that in the kingdom. Cow dung. Bull, horse, bull, you know, they ain't gonna have to do that. When you plant something, it's gonna grow. Shit, it may just fucking like grow before our eyes, for all we know. It might not even need to take like weeks and months. It might just start growing like in a day. The land's gonna be blessed. The whole earth is gonna be blessed. Again, starting with Jerusalem, with the land of Israel. We're gonna get our original borders back too. And where's we at?
Yeah, shoot, it ain't just Israel that's been overworked. The land itself has been overworked and cursed on top of it all.
We'll say peculiar.
So don't acknowledge the land Sabbath and give it rest. The land needs rest. The land hasn't been able to rest since this man's been in power. So the whole earth needs rejuvenation. Because all the Lord's creatures, man, are exhausted. The trees, you can look at the trees, they look depressed. You know? The earth itself has lost its radiance. Everything's dark, dull, dreary. You look at everything, man. It looks depressed. Everything looks depressed. The whole earth needs rejuvenation.
Shoot. You walking in the flesh, you can't feel it. Your spirit is heightened. You can sense all those things.
Yeah. I be looking at trees all the time, like, yo, them trees look straight to fresh. Like, you feel the energy coming off them trees, like they just want to, you know, get the hell out of here too, man. Animals and everything.
You're gonna be burnt up here, though.
Yeah.
They'll come back in another area.
Right.
They have to perish here.
They had to.
Yeah.
This whole land been defiled by blood and all types of demonic activity. And the Lord ultimately created Babylon to be destroyed anyway.
Volcano and all that.
It's 1 Peter 2:9. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praise of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
There you go. So look, we're the real royalty.
Right.
Esau, he's just standing there right now for us for a certain time, and then he's gonna burn. He gonna get put to work. He's gonna put him to work on the plantation. Yeah, if we had other planets, then we definitely got to make sure they increase a lot. Right? Exodus, you said that? Continual employment. That's what's coming.
Exodus 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if they will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then they shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
You ready to go?
Now therefore, if they will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then they shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
Right, and that's going to happen because the prophecy in Jeremiah 31st chapter, try to a little bit above 31. Read that one more time.
Exodus 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if they will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then they shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine.
Right, so the scripture says that all Israel shall be saved. The deliverer shall come out of Zion and turn Jacob, Israel from transgression. Jacob, yeah, so I mean, that's absolutely going to come to pass. All right, prophecy.
It is Jeremiah 31 and
There's a lot of points there.
yeah. I can start on verse 27. The point is at 31, but this is Jeremiah 31 and 27. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man.
Yep, the house of Israel and the house of Judah. So we're going to be multiplied again. Now we're going to bring our nation. The nation's going to come back together. And we become holy and forced together. Good.
And with the seed of beasts, it shall come to pass that like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict.
Yeah, because we transgressed against Yahushua, so he's punishing us right now. And he's bringing back Israel, starting with the elect. Good.
So will I watch over them to build and to plant, saith Yahweh.
All right, so we're going to obtain the obedience. So we're going to be kings and priests. Eventually, well, in the kingdom, we're going to become kings and priests.
In those days they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge.
All right, so you can't continue in the wicked ways and expect to get delivered. You got to repent. Right? And you got to deal with the hard issues in the scriptures. You can't shun them because they're not popular. Good.
Verse 31, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Right, so there's the two houses of Israel. Okay? House of Israel and the house of Judah. They make up the 12 tribes of Israel. So-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, and our people scattered throughout the nations. Right? Those are we are the biblical Israelites. Go ahead.
Not according to the covenant I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt.
Yeah, meaning with what animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice was to cover sins. All right? Now animal sacrifice doesn't cover sins anymore. Pursuing what Isaiah the first chapter tells you, I believe.
It says, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith Yahweh. Behold,
and like performing the acts of the law. Now we perform the acts of the law, but we're under grace. We're under grace, so we can perform some acts of the law and still be justified when we break the other ones, because Yahweh Shai put us under grace because of our current situation. We're being raised in an evil demonic kingdom. So the Lord put us under grace.
Like the kindness.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days,
Right,
saying,
so this is when the covenant comes to its full fruition. Right? Right now, we're not technically in a new covenant. All right? We're in between. Or I should say, we're under grace. Right?
says, after those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people.
Right, so that's how we know we're going to obtain that kingship. We're going to bear the image of the heaven. Right? That's it.
I got a precept real quick. Yeah, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and 2. It says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, right, holy, righteous men, the Israelites, all right, beginning with the elect. New Jerusalem, or the holy city, coming down is basically the Israelites being put back down on earth. Those are those that would see salvation. All right, who makes up the city? The Lord's people, beginning with His elect. All right, that's why the Lord told him, look, the kingdom is within you. All right, we the kingdom. So we coming back down, but we gonna be coming down rejuvenated, refreshed, renewed, and perfect. All right. And the reason why I'm going into this is because, see, when we rule, we're going to rule with perfection, all right? With a righteous state of mind at all times, judging according to the law, all right? Perfection, man. We're going to rule these nations in perfection. Everything we do is going to be righteous, all right?
Yeah, we're going to know that the people that we're judging aren't righteous.
Right.
We're going to know they have evil thoughts. So we're going to have the deceit. How to judge it.
Right.
We know they can't control their thoughts. We already know that they're dead, or we can wrestle now.
Right. We're already a discerner of spirits on a low level. So how much more in our perfection? So it says, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle. Well, who makes up the Lord's house? Who's the Lord's building? Who's the tabernacle? All right. Yeah, that's the kingdom. That's the kingdom of David, man. All right. Right, with the head disciples, right, and apostles, all right, and they're a part of the 144,000 and the men that come underneath them, the servants, then the rest of the remnant, all right, the believers, the faithful. It says, and the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, right, the flag of the Lord's pasture is men, right, the 144,000 of the prophets are men, okay. They're the government body of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. And He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, right? The Lord said that we were made, you read it earlier, right? Kingdom of priests, right? A royal people, right? That's the beginning with the men, they're the heads. And it says, and the Most High Himself shall be with them and be their power. And you see that rejuvenation of Israel coming back right now through the words, through the prophecies, right? At the mouth of the Lord's prophets, which are the men. It says, and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain.
Right, that goes exclusively for the Israelites, because it tells you in the second chapter that the heathen are going into slavery, so we can't be talking about them.
That's it. Well, that's the point, because we're talking earlier about how, you know, all the Esau's wickedness and system and everything is going to be destroyed, right? And we're not going to have to worry when we're in the kingdom about death, about you know, this thing or that thing, about cancer, about heart disease, about, you know, all these other different you know, judgments essentially. That's why we're going to be at peace and we're going to be perfect.
Waking up for work.
Yeah, no more waking up for work. Yeah, that's pain, man. That's suffering. Yeah, we're gonna be in our heaven.
Take supplements and shit. Everything's gonna be straight, powerful. Everything we do.
Right. It says, for the former things are passed away.
Yep. So the former things are passed away. So the stretch we're in now is going to be put to death for the Lord's elect, the Israelites.
Right.
The heathen, they're still going to be dealing with certain ailments and illnesses issues and problems and limitations and all that, they still going to, because it tells you that in the second chapter that they're going to be crushed.
Right.
You can't crush someone that has that's going to bear the image of the heavenly, like we're about to read in the Corinthians.
Right. And in the second verse, it talks about the bride. Well, that's Israel, and the husband is Yahushua.
Right.
And see, we've bidden Israel to the marriage now for that great day. All right. What great day? That great, terrible day of the Lord coming. All right. If you hadn't been bidden to the marriage and accepted the invitation, trimmed your lamps, kept yourself a virgin, so to speak, in your faith and in your belief. All right. Then when the chariots come to join us onto Yahushua, you're going to be left out, man. And you're going to have to partake of that fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that fire is going to be his judgment. That's what the fire is for.
That's it.
For judgment. To cleanse that particular area of sinners.
Come.
You know?
Just want to read
And
one more verse.
corruption.
Come. It says, and he that sat upon the throne said, which is Yahushua, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful.
Right. It's going to be clean, dissolved. All right, to ashes. Like a gas stove, not an electric stove. The electric stove, they all crush the crud, fucks your stove up and all that. It's going to be, all the elements are going to be burnt. They're going to be burned up when the missiles detonate the fuel in Babylon, America. All right, it's going to be clean, dissolved.
Yep. Yep.
Like to the lowest it can possibly go, well, to the lowest where corruption ends, to that point, all the way up in the sky. Scripture tell you repeatedly that the heavens going to be on fire.
Yep.
Yep. Esau, you're going to be in there. In the
You're
heavens
either
too.
going to pass through the fire,
Yep.
or you're going to be burnt up by the fire.
Yep. There you go. Yeah. All right.
That's all I have.
I guess we go to the last two. Lamar, you got something? Just last two. Corinthians. Start up a little above, but it would make sense. About our bodies, I guess. Something like that. Spiritual body, there's a natural body. A spiritual body, and there's a terrestrial body.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 45. It says, and so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven.
All right, so we're going to obtain that perfection. Like Yahushua obtain that perfection.
As is
But only this time, we're not going to be able to be killed, because Yahushua is actually murdered. Go ahead.
As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy, and as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. As we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly.
Go ahead.
God, it says, now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High, neither doth corruption inherit incorruption. It says, behold, I show you a mystery, we shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality.
All right, so our bodies are going to be changed when we get to the kingdom. When we get to the, when the elect get to the space, that's when we're going to be changed.
Right.
Like, to survive up there, the composition of our bodies have to be changed.
Right. Because right now in this current state, we're subject to imperfection, death. That's what the scriptures say. Right? Our mind could be stirred this way or that way. That's corruption.
Right. Yeah, even if we're not going to even take the evil way. Even the very fact that we got the option to is a sin, is weakness.
Right.
Is weakness. See, Yahushua never had that.
Right.
So some came to him. Yahushua had the perfect mind. There was no way that he would consider this.
See, right now, demons can penetrate this body.
Yeah.
That's why we got to get delivered from it. That the heart is desperately wicked, right? Who can know it? It's too susceptible to change and all types of other devices. So we need perfection. So like the brother said, the whole composition, weakness, death, it's all subject to those things. When we get changed when our bodily composition, like the brother said, because we have heavenly bodies, all right, that the Lord has set in store for us to inherit. All right, when we get beamed up, Lord, as well.
The kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth.
Right, absolutely.
It's not going to be in the spirit world.
No.
The kingdom of heaven, when we say that phrase, we're referring to...
Right, like the streets of gold, that's literal.
Right.
That's literal, because we're going to have access to all the resources of the earth. So everything's going to be perfect, man.
Perfection.
Yeah. Be the purest gold of Ophir. All right?
Yeah, high.
The highest grade, the highest quality, the most pure. And it's going to have its shimmer, its glisten.
Hey, that's why...
And remember, gold has a lot of different uses, okay?
That's why you saw stole all of it when
Besides
he came
looking
over
good,
here.
it's got a lot of, it's multi-purpose. But you're going to feel that, man, when you coming through our gates, you're going to feel the power of the kingdom, man. You're going to feel it, man.
Not even hear music.
Yeah. But I know at the beginning of all the entrances of my city, they're going to be a whole...
queue.
Like, yeah. There's going to be a whole, like...
Blow me a fanfare. Don't walk in the room, blow a fanfare.
Good. Yeah, it's going to be like a welcoming committee. Everything going to be laid out, man. A brother come to my town and city, they're going to have a whole welcoming committee. Music going to be on cue. They're going to be offered gifts, spices. I don't care if they don't need it, they got their own. They just going to get it. They're not going to leave empty-handed. They ain't even going to be able to come in empty-handed. They'll be having to bring their servants to handle it all. Hey, you need to take this down. Yeah, the forces of Gentiles.
Oh shit! She set herself on fire.
She's freebasing or something? That freebasing?
She set herself on fire.
She's doing drugs, right?
I don't know. She's probably just trying to get some warmth. And see this is right out of an apocalyptic scene. Soon the whole street's gonna look like that. Fucking burn barrels with fire.
I just
people
lit up
trying
a
to
coal.
get heat.
She just did the left hand side of what I just did. That's weird.
All right.
Anyway,
I guess this is the last one.
Yeah. So the point the Lord's elect gonna be changed. We gonna get the new body.
Yeah, got pizza.
Did you want to bring that up? All right.
Is it closer? As long as it makes the point.
2 Corinthians 2:16, for which cause we faint not, but through our man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day.
Right. So in other words, in our minds, all right, through the mercy and grace and the faith that we have, we're strengthened. All right. We increase in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, even though, we catch all types of hell. Brothers got different ailments, different problems. At the end of the day, our spirits are getting stronger through those afflictions. So it has its purpose, but it ain't going to be forever, because we were meant to inherit perfection. All right? We're not meant to suffer all the whole way through, man. We're going to suffer for now, all right? And it serves its purpose. At the end of the day, the Lord strengthened us so we can get to that point, so we can put on that perfection. That's the purpose of suffering. So yeah, our outward man perish, right? We get messed up, we go through all types of different trials. But the Lord is using that as a medium to strengthen our spirits. The more that we suffer, the more we want deliverance, the more, we're in tune with the Spirit. So it has its purpose, and we use it accordingly. And the Lord, through it, is bringing us closer to salvation. Because without that affliction, you would never be able to build discipline or patience. The word patience means the quality to suffer. So we're suffering now, so we don't have to suffer later. All right? Right?
Yes.
This body is subject to corruption. So we got to get rid of it. All right? So the Lord is perfecting our minds, all right, through the suffering. But at the end of the day, the Lord never designed it to be where we would suffer forever. And that's hope. Go ahead.
For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory.
Right, and that great eternal weight of glory is us ultimately coming into that perfection, worshiping Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai the way that we were designed to, as perfect vessels, and getting the kingdom as a joint heir with Yahweh Shai. That's what purpose it serves. If we are partakers of Yahweh Shai's sufferings, then we will also be partakers of that glory when he is revealed in this time. All right? So it'll all be worth it. It's a light affliction. Right? No matter what you're going through, no matter the level of intensity at the end of the day, in comparison to what we're getting ready to inherit, it's a light affliction. That's hope. That's hope, man. And that's really joy, man. That's uplifting. You be looking at all the suffering, but then you consider, wait a minute, all the blessings that's coming to us, you know, outweighs anything that we've ever suffered in this life. Anything about how the Lord told his disciples that they were going to receive 100-fold of everything that they lost. So you consider everything you lost, imagine getting 100-fold back. You can't compare that. You can't compare that.
100% marriage rate.
You know? And think about what you did gain in this world. What was it? It was all corrupted, defiled, limited, not in its pure form or state. Right? Whether it be women, riches, or whatever. Even the house in which you live. That shit is bullshit, man. The whole foundation. These houses weren't built to last. Because Esau don't build things according to the proper infrastructure that the Lord said to use. Esau be selling this cheap-ass wood, cheap-ass materials, you know, curing the wood with all types of chemicals. Then you dwelling in a house that got all types of problems. Yeah. But anyway, you know, the point is, the Lord is making us perfect in our spirits first, preparing a place for us, and ultimately we're going to get those bodies where we inherit total perfection, Lord willing, we're those men, you know? And then, hey, the rest of the nation going to come back to the elect seat, because all Israel is going to ultimately be saved, but, you know, it's not going to be on this side. Is there more on that?
Yeah, last verse. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal.
Right.
But the things
we see these buildings, we see the riches and the uneven distributions of wealth. That's the things that we see, but it's temporary. It's temporary. This man's leadership, the different imbalances, the confusion, all this disorder and chaos out here, man, the sufferings, everything, that's just temporary. And the things that we don't see on a physical level, we actually see on a spiritual level through that eye salve, right? That ointment, which is the Holy Scriptures, that's the comforter. And we know that we have a kingdom coming to us. We know that we have a Savior. We know that we have power. All right? And everything else that you can imagine, your heart is going to be overwhelmed. The Lord said that, listen, well, I'm going to let the Scripture speak, man. Go ahead.
For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
They're eternal. They're never going to, once Israel comes into their full power and strength, we're never going to be taken down. Ain't nobody coming up against us. Ain't nobody going to put us back into captivity. Ain't nobody going to take away anything from us, man. And they're going to be subject unto us, and that's forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Uninterrupted. And will not be broken.
Wow.
All right? And that's us inheriting perfection and righteousness, where we can worship Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. Keep the high holy days perfect. Everything's going to be perfect. So, that's it, right? So with that, we want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto
Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rakakadash.
Giving double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the Lord's elect. While Baba Ball.
Shalom.